And we back with another one, man. R.I.P. Benny, man. Moment of silence, my man Benny, man. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I was like, what am I gonna stream today, man? I ain't stream nothing. I couldn't game due to me trying to figure out why the hell all of a sudden all my apps and games are lagging randomly. Then I was just on YouTube chilling in my bed, watching Common Explain, and then Benny, the new person who's taking over for Benny channel, uploaded a story. I was like, you know what? I was just like, yo, has anybody ever did reactions to like Comicstorian or Comic Explain? I thought about it. I don't think nobody has ever done it. Reacted to their work on YouTube. I realized what better way to show my appreciation and love for not only comic books, but for Rob and Benny, bro. Bro, I swear to God, but these motherfuckers, my I ain't gonna say I'm 30. So I'm not gonna say they're my childhood, you feel me? But they got me through so much of my life, you feel me, bro? I'm telling you, bro, when I was in school, Benny had a whole dorm room on lock. Benny had a whole, I forgot, once it got dark, once it hit nighttime, once it got like 6, 7, but the whole dorm room was on Comicstorian, bro. I played one Spider-Man full story video. They was like, who that guy is? You feel me? Like his voice was mad soothing and stuff. Man, we used to watch all his full story videos, all his videos. Comic Explain too, you feel me? And I was just like, you know what? If I'm gonna do YouTube, man, I want to react and show love to those who I always watched, bro. Who I always loved, bro. With Benny passing, bro, I just feel like it's just something I want to do, bro. To show how much that him, his hard work, and Rob, are you still here? How much they work mean to me, you feel me? So we're gonna do this all his full stories. We're gonna do comic explain too, you feel me? But it's only right. But we start off with Comicstorian and stuff, bro. Yeah, you feel me? So we got DC Earth 2. Hey, you know I'm a nerd. You know me. You know I'm a nerd. You know I like that comic book. You know I like that comic book stuff. You know I love comic books, man. We got Earth 2. Full story. I feel like Earth 2 is one of I'm gonna let him explain it to you, bro. If you know, you know. If you know, you know, bro. I'm gonna do your thing, Benny.
2 tells the story of an alternate reality of your favorite DC superheroes. This storyline came out in the days of New 52, where they completely reinvented the Earth 2 storyline. But what makes Earth 2 unique and amazing is it is a 5-year storyline that has a beginning, middle, and end for your favorite superheroes' stories. So, let's get into that today because it's one of my all-time favorite comic book storylines.
Okay, that's new to me. That's new to me. I didn't know Earth 52 was New 52. I didn't know that was New 52. I thought it was an alternate universe. An alternate universe that just blew up. You feel me? A lot of times, a lot of alternate universes will blow up. A lot of alternate universe storyline will just blow up, and it'll just become its own thing. You feel me? But I didn't know that it was part of New 52.
The world is almost lost. Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman are doing their best, but we've lost so many. Parademons are everywhere, and Darkseid has gone on and invaded all of this world. And he's winning. But Batman has one final plan. With Wonder Woman, the last of the Amazons, screaming her battle cry.
Is that Batman or is that Nightwing? I seen the baton in his hand. I don't think Batman has ever used the Nightwing sticks. I don't think there's been a single story where he used Yeah, I don't think there's a single story where he ever used the Nightwing sticks, bro. I don't think there's a, that might be Dick Grayson.
With Wonder Woman, the last of the Amazons, screaming her battle cry, and Superman's mind occupied by the loss of Lois Lane, Batman scales one of the transmitting towers with Robin as his backup, and Supergirl overwatching a military unit transporting a nuke as a last-ditch effort. As Batman fires a gun through the head of a parademon, and Wonder Woman cuts the head off another, Mercury, the messenger of the gods, delivers the message. Diana, the gods joined the battle, but they have fallen. Few of us even remain, but we fight for the human race. He then leaves the area just as Superman is becoming overwhelmed by parademons, and Steppenwolf boom tubes onto the scene.
The gods, the Olympian gods joined the fight, and many of them are dying. That's a reach. DC. That's a reach. That's a reach. You know that's a reach. That's a reach. For even if it was like to throw like a vast amount of like parademons, like an endless wave of them, I don't see them killing Olympian gods, bro. I don't. Like some of them, you might get like the lesser guys, but the Big 12, you not getting Poseidon. You sure hell not getting Zeus, Hercules, Hermes, Mercury, Ares. Will Ares help? And cause DC Ares, he OP. I'm telling you, bro, there's a big difference between DC Ares and Marvel Ares, bro. That boy DC Ares broken. You sure hell not getting Ares. Hades, yeah, Hades will fight. Hades will fight. I don't think Hades a dick. I don't think Hades a dick in DC Comics. Apollo, you sure hell not getting Apollo. You sure hell not getting Apollo on them. So the Big 12 Olympics, I don't see them falling to parademons, bro. I don't see them falling to parademons, bro. I don't see it, bro.
Superman watches in horror, and he tries his best to warn Wonder Woman, but it's too late. She takes a blade through her back, cutting her through the stomach. He can only watch in horror as she falls to the ground dead, and furious he shouts, "Steppenwolf, I'll kill you!" But he can't even finish the sentence as he explodes in power. Steppenwolf smirks. "No, Cal, you won't." Meanwhile, across the world, Supergirl loses contact with her cousin, and she leaves the humans with the nuke to fend for themselves as she flies off to check on her family. Sergeant Pratt tells his men to stand strong as they take out these parademons and they try to get their nuke to its destination. Back with Batman and his daughter Helena, also known as the Robin of this world, he tells her to leave him. Get away. Once he puts this virus into the tower, it will self-destruct, and he won't get away in time. With tears in her eyes, she begs her father not to leave her. She already lost her mother, Selena. Don't, Daddy.
Okay, they had
There's
a baby.
no don't today either. I must. Oh, my brave, wonderful soldier. Live for me. And with that, Helena screams, "No!" And the tower that Batman is in explodes. Supergirl flies up just as the whole event happens, and they both see a boom tube opening. Assuming that it's Steppenwolf back to battle, Supergirl and Robin fly straight into it, and they vanish into the night. All of the parademons hit the ground, and the battle was over. Darkseid's troops would no longer be able to boom tube onto this world. That was the day that this world lost its superheroes, its wonders. There aren't any left, and they've all perished in this battle with Apocalypse. 5 years have now passed, and the world will try to begin and heal. But this isn't a safe haven. This isn't the end. Our new tale begins with a man named Jay Garrick, as he watches what happens.
That's one thing about Benny, bro, coming to story, right? He gonna make that shit sadder than what it is, bro. I swear, if the scene is already sad, he gonna make it sadder, bro. I swear, he'll have you crying in this bitch. Benny will have you crying, bro. He will really have you feel like, I don't know. He really know how to pull the heartstrings, bro. I swear to God, he'll have you crying, man.
to be a falling star hit the ground. He runs over, and before him is Mercury, the messenger of the gods. Listen closely, human. I am the last of the gods. My brethren all died aiding Diana, Wonder Woman as you knew her, and defeating the hordes of Steppenwolf. But that's crazy! How could we have not have seen that? Quiet, boy. I am the speaker of the gods, and you put me to shame. My time is short. I have escaped where I was being held captive to warn all of humanity of the danger coming to Earth and its people. The task ahead will need heroes. Wait, heroes? To fight an even greater threat than Apocalypse invading? How can we? Earth simply doesn't have any left. We lost our trinity of wonders, Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. It's time for a new age to begin, Jay Garrick. New heroes and new wonders. And I bestow on you my powers. Hermes points his finger at Jay and a bolt of lightning shoots out, hitting the young boy. As it settles down, Jay looks in shock as he now has a full costume on him. Then, Hermes begins to die, and the World Army appears telling Jay to stay put. But Hermes' last words to him are, "You can't trust anyone. Run!" He runs as fast as he can until he ditches the helicopter, and he ends up in the city where he happens on a couple being attacked by Apoca rats. He beats down the rats and he tells the couple in his speed, "Don't worry, I'll have you out of danger."
Apoca rats is crazy. Like last thing Apocalypse left was rats. That's my greatest fear.
In a flash.
Terrible.
And as he leaves, the couple wonders
That's
who that man
terrifying.
was, because the only word that they heard was Flash. Jay keeps running around the world until he ends up in Poland, where he discovers that he has some problem stopping, and that's when he meets another new wonder. Someone introducing herself as Hawk Girl. Are you an angel? Yeah, I have a hawk's cowl and mask. No, I'm not an angel. They talk for a minute and she explains that fate showed her to him, and they'll need to team up soon, but he'll need some training first. When suddenly, all around them, everything begins to die. Meanwhile, across the world in China, a man named Alan Scott is traveling into the mountains to finally be alone with his boyfriend. He has plans to marry him, and as he holds the ring up to propose, the bullet chain explodes and it crashes into the ground. Alan wakes up that night with half of his body burned and an untold number of broken bones, and tears running down his face as he calls out for Sam, his fiancée. But a green flame appears to him. "Alan Scott, you are the one. Allow me to take your pain and mend your body." "I don't care about that. Please help me find Sam. I need to find him." "I am sorry, Alan, but your lover is gone. We were only able to save you. My task was to protect you for the role that you are destined to play. An evil will soon be upon this world, which if left unchallenged will destroy all life. I am the embodiment of Earth's energy, and in truly dark times a champion is chosen." Wait, in truly dark times you pick a champion? Why didn't you pick someone for the war with Apocalypse? The Earth had a champion then. They had the Sun God. Superman? Now that he is gone, I need you to stand in his stead, Alan Scott. I need you to be Earth's new defender. And with that, Alan Scott becomes the new Green Lantern. And as a way to honor Sam, the wedding ring that he was going to give him becomes his new Green Lantern ring.
That's tough! That's tough! It's why Earth 2 will always be, and everybody, this is why Earth 2 will always be my fucking top 5 story runs, bro. It'll always be my top 5 story runs, bro. I see why many like, this is my all-time, one of my all-time favorites, bro. It has to be one of your all-time favorites, bro. It's tough. That man said, my wedding ring is going to be my Green Lantern ring to honor my dead, my dead husband. That's fire. That's fucking fire. That's fire, bro. He low-key look like Parallax. No, not Parallax. Like, not the entity that the Yellow Lanterns use to fill their Yellow Lantern rings. Not him, but he looked like Parallax, the evil, the OP version of Hal Jordan. I think his city got nuked. And yeah, his city got nuked. His city got nuked. Hal used his ring to recreate his whole city and people, right? He was happy. Don't know why. He was happy with that until the Green Lantern Corps came down and was like, yeah, you can't do that. That's fucking weird. That's weird, my guy. That's weird. And that's an inappropriate use of your ring. So they stopped him from doing it, and he snapped, killed them all, took their rings, and was just like, but if I can't have peace and happiness, nobody can. And he done put belt to ass. He lost his damn mind. I see what, oh my God. I see why Rob enjoyed this so much. Benny and Rob enjoyed this. So I can say this. I can finally say this one line. No, we gonna cover that story. You know how long I wanted to say that? You know how long I wanted to say that? We can cover that story. You know what? We gonna cover that story, man. I'm happy. I gotta get me a Rob Corps ring. I gotta join the Rob Corps. Note to self, join the Rob Corps.
But if the green has chosen its champion, so will the gray. And Grundy has been called upon to...
Oh, the green. I like the green, bro. It feels like the green is like... How do I explain the green? The green... Has the green fully been explained? Probably, but to my best of knowledge, the green is like... Think about it like the Green Lantern Corps. The Lantern Corps, right? Where like you have willpower, you have fear, you have hope, you have rage, you have death, you have greed. Like the spectrum. The emotional spectrum, right? But the green is like Earth or all life. Like Earth spectrum. Like the universal spectrum of like life, I want to say, because you have the green for animals. No. You have the green for Earth and plant life. You have the gray for dead. You have gray for dead and decay, and you have the red for animals. I think that's all that. I want to say blue for fish, for water. I want to say blue for water. I don't think there's ever been a blue, but I know for a fact red's for animal, green is for the earth and plant life and fungi, and gray is for decay and dead. So like the spectrum for the light, I don't know what the actual spectrum is for altogether. I know it's for like the source of life, I guess. But Grundy being back as a hero, I think it's the first story where Grundy would actually be a hero. Now, he was a hero and deceased. He had a change of heart in, like, I think, 2 stories.
Rise. He begins to rise on the world on the lawn of the White House as he destroys it with the very essence of death. Green Lantern begins to move towards the rot. The green is telling him where to
he's
go.
not a hero.
While Hawkgirl grabs onto Jay Garrick, and they follow the rot all the way back to Washington, D.C. As they arrive, Hawkgirl begins to blast Grundy by blowing his head up with her pistols, and Flash stops himself by running into the rubble of the White House. Hawkgirl tells him to get the civilians out of here because he isn't trained for this kind of thing yet. This could kill him. But Flash calls out to her, telling her to stop. She could die and he needs answers. She tells him not to worry, she's not...
I like how realistic the Flash is. I like it, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. I like how he has trouble trying to stop, and that's realistic, bro. You're going over like 500 miles per hour, bro. You're not gonna stop instantly, bro. I like the realism in that, bro. I like the realism. I fuck the realism.
Dead yet. She swoops in, blasting Grundy through the chest and again in the face, but Grundy reaches out and he easily grabs her by the throat, prepared to end this little fight. That's the moment that the Green Lantern flies in and he uppercuts Grundy, ripping him in half with the green flame of Earth. No more! There's been enough death for one day. Just a wild guess, I assume you're the Green Knight he's looking for? I'm the Green Lantern. Grundy gets up and he throws the Green Lantern into the ground. And when you're dead, no one will care! While Flash is running around saving people, Hawkgirl takes off trying to shoot Grundy off the Green Lantern. When the news comes over the big screen, asking the world, is this the beginning of a new era of wonders? The Green Lantern tries again and again to beat on Grundy, but he just keeps reforming, so Alan has no idea what to do next. He doesn't need the answer though, as the Atom lands on top of Grundy using his full size of his fully grown body. Threat neutralized. He says as he lands. Sergeant Al Pratt sees the other wonders, and Hawkgirl knows exactly what this is. The Atom works for the World Army. "I'm not going back, Al," she shouts as he reaches out grabbing for her. "I have my orders, Kendra." Then turning to the Flash and the Green Lantern, he tells them, "By the authority of the World Army Council, I order you to stand down." He swats the Green Lantern away, and Jay realizes that it's time for him to do more than just save the civilians. At lightning speeds, he jumps up and he begins to kick and punch the Atom until he knocks his helmet off and he frees Hawkgirl. As the Atom falls to the ground, he says, "You're gonna pay for that." "Oh yeah, bully," the Flash says as he lands on the ground. That's when the Atom gets up for round 2.
Bro, why the government always trying to fuck some shit up, bro? Like the government, bro. It don't matter what. I hope, bro, the day superheroes finally become a thing in real life. I know I lied, bro. I would say I hope if superheroes ever become a thing in real life, right? We all get bestowed powers, bro. I hope the government ain't as dumb as this, bro. The world, you lost everything in the world. And your main priority is, they got powers, take them in. Like, I hope they not as, like, dumb as they always portrayed to be in comic books, bro. But we all know the answer to that, bro. Instead of trying to, particularly, bro, it's always DC. I realize, bro, it's always DC. Bro, could Marvel write Nick Fury in them, bro? They would never try some dumb shit like that, bro. They would help beat the threat, and they'd be like, okay, let's go discuss it in our base. And they'll try to recruit them with like a common interest and reassuring them that, hey, you're not alone. We have a system, we have a program, we have S.H.I.E.L.D., we have resources, we got you. You feel me? And basically, like Marvel come with that, this is your new family now. You feel me? They got that, hey man, you feel they got that, this is your new family energy. You feel me? DC is like, we finna experiment on your ass. It make it seem like if you go with them, bro, you never gonna get seen again. Like, bro, they need to change that shit up. I mean, it makes sense that DC is realistic, more king and more realistic to like everyday life. So everyday life, they would do some shit like this, bro. That's fuck up the vibes.
But the rot begins to overtake him. What's happening to me? Threat is dead? Grundy? Stupid man! I've been dead all along! Grundy shouts as he begins to wrap and bury the Atom. The Green Lantern returns at that moment and he tells his 2 new friends, "You guys save the Atom. I'll take care of Grundy." And the team flies in for round 2. Alan Scott begins flinging green fire from the earth at Grundy, throwing him off while Hawkgirl and Flash get the Atom out of his little hole, and they discover that he's shrunken down. "I can't believe that you saved me, Kendra," the Atom says as he gets up. "Why not? We're wonders, aren't we? That makes us heroes," the Flash says, and the whole group reassembles ready to face off with Grundy. The Green Lantern tells the 3 of them to hold Grundy back, and he'll return. He hopes. And if he doesn't, tell the world that he died fighting for it. With everyone fighting on the surface, the Green Lantern communes with the Green, the Earth, and he contacts the Gray, Death. He pleads with the Gray to stop, while it pleads with him to join them, and they will present to him Sam, his lost lover. If he stops fighting the Gray, they'll give him what he desires back. Out in the real world, Flash, Hawkgirl, and Atom are trying their best to stop Grundy, but his power is too great. Fungus, death, and rot are forming all around them, and no matter how hard they try, Grundy is getting closer and closer to Alan Scott's body as he traverses the elemental forces. Inside the elemental forces, Alan is finally getting Sam back, and he holds him close. He could let go now, rest forever in here with the Green, the Gray, and with Sam. This is paradise, and he feels such joy from being here. But then, he remembers where he is. This isn't paradise, this is nothingness, and this isn't Sam.
Yes,
is that the
sir.
best you have, Gray? You cannot win. You cannot defeat Grundy. I thought that too, until you told me how. The Green Lantern breaks out of the elemental landscape and he grabs Grundy. The Gray is done, and so are you. He takes off and he begins to launch him into space as Grundy struggles hard. Problems on the ground aren't done though, as Hawkgirl turns to Flash. With Grundy gone, Atom will turn to his secondary orders. The Flash looks back at her. Secondary orders? So the Flash grabs her and they get out of Washington as fast as they can. Damn it, Kendra! You can't run forever! The Atom shouts as he pulls his mask off. Up in space, Alan Scott can feel the Green weakening as he gets farther and farther from Earth, until eventually, he only has enough power to push Grundy to the moon. Then, he floats freely in space, and he begins to fall back down to the Earth. He accepts his fate, but as he falls into the atmosphere, Hawkgirl catches him. She brings him down and he shoots the ground with a full blast of green, basically giving the Earth.
Shot Granny to the moon. I feel like they saving Granny. I feel like they saving Granny for something special. I ain't gonna lie to you. If Darkseid comes back, and they don't go take Granny and throw his ass in Apocalypse and have Granny just wreak all hell because they can't kill him, and they don't use Granny as a weapon against Darkseid, I'm gonna be very disappointed. Because they could have just found a way to kill him. I feel like they put him to the side for that reason. I don't know. It's been so long since I re-listened to and reread Earth 2. But it gotta be a reason they sent it to the moon.
Earth a booster shot. This is it, the Flash says. We're all wonders. We could be the new Trinity. Well, there could also be 4 of us if we ever convince the Atom to join up. Sorry, Flash. I don't agree, Green Lantern says, holding his hands up. I don't need either of you. What? We just saved you back in the sky a minute ago. Yeah, and I thank you for that. But I don't plan on playing Icarus again. So there's nothing else that can stop me. We're done. And he flies off.
So that
the Flash turns to Hawkgirl.
One dickhead.
What do we do now? Green Lantern. He has a lot of things going on right now, and he's told Hawkgirl and Flash that he isn't interested in making a new team. You see, Alan Scott lost someone dear to him during his transformation into the Green Lantern, his boyfriend Sam. He's been a wreck ever since he got home and he took the ring off, because it's at that moment that he started to realize that he had truly lost Sam. And that's when Hawkgirl found him. She explained that she has a talent for finding people, putting together mysteries and figuring out who's who. And she figured out that Alan Scott, the billionaire, is actually Green Lantern. So she asks him, please join them. And Alan tells her that he has always been a man who follows his own path. He doesn't do team.
Why she like a man? Why she look like a man, bro? Like, that's disrespectful to the character, bro. To the actual character of a hot girl, hot woman, that's disrespectful, bro.
So she fires a dart through the picture of Sam. You're just a target without your ring, Alan. And she takes off into the skies, leaving only a feather behind. Meanwhile, the World Army is preparing for their own endeavors, and they want the Wonders to work for them. And if they won't, they'll build some, like Red Tornado. And on the other side of the world, the Darkseid's troops that were left behind when Batman blew up their tower, they're starting to build a new army under Steppenwolf, with the daughter of Wonder Woman, Fury, by his side. Things are starting to move along in the world of Earth 2. So Hawkgirl returns to her friend Khalil because she needs to convince him to put back on the helmet, to bring out his powers, to bring out the one known as Nabu. But Khalil tells her that it wasn't him that foretold the location of the Flash or that the Green Lantern was coming. It was Nabu. When he puts the helmet on, he shares his mind with Nabu, and there's insanity that comes with that, sharing his mind with another individual. He doesn't want to give up his sanity for power. But Kendra convinces him to use the helmet to at least teleport around, because Jay Garrick, the Flash, is back in Michigan checking in on his mom, and she wants Khalil to make sure that Jay is okay. Over in Michigan, Jay walks up to his house while Khalil stands at a distance watching him, and he calls out for his mother to make sure that she's okay, and she tells him that she has been frantic. Even though it's only been a couple of days, the World Army showed up and they had a whole bunch of questions. Jay stops her. They were here? How long ago? 2 hours? Is that a problem? At that moment, the ceiling caves in as the Atom arrives, yelling,
How they know their identity, bro? God damn, I ain't gonna lie to you. The government in this story on Earth 2 ain't no joke. God damn, they got Batman level of detective, bro. God damn.
Knock, knock. The World Army walks in and they order Jay to stand down. And Jay tells them, no. He runs at top speed around the room, dropping all of the guards and putting on his uniform and then dodging the Atom's giant hand. That's when a random man appears and grabs Jay's mother. Jay stops right away and the woman in charge of the World Army kicks him across the jaw. But that's when having Khalil around comes in handy, because he steps out hitting the thug holding Jay's mom over the head. Seeing his chance, Jay grabs both his mother and Khalil and he runs as fast as he can until the three of them vanish. They appear in what is known as Nabu's realm, and the Tower of Fate stands before them in the distance. But that's the least of their worries, as one of Naboo's enemies, Wotan, has summoned them here, and he wants the helmet of Naboo for himself. Jay tries to run at Wotan to free Khalil, his mother, and himself, but Wotan's magic is too great, and he lifts Jay Garrick off of the ground and he holds him upside down, before throwing him back down. Khalil explains that the power of Naboo manifests itself in the helmet, and that's what Wotan wants. The reason Khalil hid it here in the Tower of Fate is because when he wore it, Naboo's spirit tried to take over his body, and it was driving him insane. But wearing the helmet even that little bit imbued Khalil with the magical energies of Naboo, and his last act was to place it in the Tower of Fate away from him, because every time he uses magic, he can feel his sanity slipping away. Since the tower can only be entered by Khalil and his friends, they need to bring the helmet of Naboo out, or Wotan will kill Jay's mother. And on that note, Wotan teleports both men into the Tower of Fate. And all around them, the floor is the walls and the walls of the ceiling. Gears and devices turn all over, and nothing is where it should be. Meanwhile, across the globe, Alan Scott has learned something tragic from Sam's father at Sam's grave. While Alan thought the terrorist attack on the train was aimed at him, it was in fact aimed at Sam. With this knowledge in hand, Alan uses the powers of the Green Lantern to tear through the gangs of China. He kills as many of them as he can, and he tortures the rest of them, trying to get his information, until he realizes...
Okay, that's not a traditional Green Lantern ring. If you know, you know, because Green Lantern rings can't kill. Green Lantern ring can kill now, but back then, Green Lantern ring was restricted to, like, you can't kill nobody. I don't know how that works. I don't know if it's like, okay, ever since they restricted it in the main DC, Prime DC, I don't know if it's like, okay, you can kill anybody, or if it's like, you can kill those who was evil. I don't know, but I like this. I like this, though.
Realizes that he is really bad at following clues, but he knows someone who isn't. Tracking Hawkgirl to a parademon cell in Louisiana, Alan admits he may actually need some help. She is able to follow clues and resolve a mystery, and he needs her to find Sam's killer. Back in the Tower of Fate, though, Jay and Khalil are walking up the endless stairs and down the walls, trying to find where the helmet is. The place is an ever-changing labyrinth, and the only thing they have to work with is a feeling that Khalil is getting as to the location of the helmet. Where could it be? But their situation is about to get even worse as the Great Beast arrives from the ceiling. Jay grabs Khalil and he runs at top speed through this labyrinth, trying to get away from the beast, but the problem is that up is down and down is up, and he has no idea where he's going. So Khalil tells him to stop, that he has come up with a better idea. The Flash will keep the Great Beast occupied while Khalil finds the helmet, the only thing that can force the Tower of Fate to listen to them. So Khalil feels Naboo talking to him, taunting him to come back for the power, and Jay hides out with the Great Beast sniffing around looking for them. And that's when Jay realizes he'll need to go down there and get the Great Beast's attention. Otherwise, it'll find Khalil, and this plan will be ruined. So he runs down and he dodges a swipe, and then he gets caught by the beast's other hand. Luckily, Khalil has found his way through the maze and he's found the helmet. He begins talking to the helmet. He'll do this. He'll accept his fate. But Khalil asks the helmet of Naboo about his sanity. Will he get to keep it? And the soul of Naboo tells him he may lose it, but he may also have the will to hold on to it. This is only the echo of his soul. He cannot foretell the future. So Khalil tells him he'll do it, but he gets to choose the name. So Dr. Fate and Naboo agree. They will be Dr. Fate together. But he wants to know what changed Khalil's mind. And Khalil tells him that it was Jay Garrick, a young man that isn't in control, and he hasn't been since he got his powers, but he uses them to the best of his ability to be a hero. If Khalil can be inspired by Jay, if he can use these powers for good and save the world, then let it be his fate as he puts on the helmet, becoming Dr. Fate. In an instant, he appears before...
That gotta be the most tragic, they gotta be the most tragic power in DC, bro. I'm not making one. That's top 5, top 10 most tragic powers, bro. You get imbued by so much power, bro, that you're basically a god. But you lose everything. You lose yourself and everything about you, bro. Like when you get possessed for life, for all eternity, bro, and you can't even die. It's not even like, oh shit, like you can still die. I mean, you can die by unnatural means, but you could die in a fight. if somebody's stronger. But like, if it's not by death by like Darkseid or somebody or the Chaos Lords, blah blah blah, right? You're gonna live forever. If you're not gonna die in combat, you're gonna live forever. You're gonna be 1,000,000 years old, bro. And you're gonna live for an eternity, bro. And you're still alive, consciously watching everything, bro. So I see why he was like, I'm gonna lose my sanity, bro. I'm gonna lose my sanity, bro. Like, having your body forced to live for eternity, right? And you're just watching it in autopilot mode, bro, you're gonna lose your fucking sanity, bro.
Jay Garrick, and he puts down the great beast. He then teleports himself and Jay out of the tower and back in front of Watan. Watan, here I am! He charges in hard and fast right at Watan, and in a giant explosion of magic, both men are thrown back. He throws a protection spell down to block Watan's attacks, and then he creates a portal back to Earth so that Jay can get his mother back there, and Dr. Fate can take their fight back to Earth. Meanwhile, the Green Lantern and Hawkgirl have tracked Sam's killer down to the port of China, and they open up a single shipping crate to find a very shocking sight. The bodies of parademons. Someone is collecting the dead bodies of Darkseid's army and putting them here. Hawkgirl tells them that they need to return to the last mob boss that they spoke to since he had this information. But Alan feels the Earth pulling at him, the green telling him that it needs protection. He apologizes to Hawkgirl and tells her that he can't stop this feeling. He needs to go, and he rockets as fast as he can to Boston, where the two titans of magic are fighting it out in the sky. Red and yellow sparks are flying all over. Flash tells him to stay out of the fight. This one is for their new friend, Dr. Fate. But they can do some stuff to help. The World Army is coming in to get involved in this fight, and the Green Lantern and Flash take off to stop them. Watan and Nabu have had this battle time and time again, and regardless of the power that Watan has obtained, Dr. Fate has more, and he destroys the body that Watan is in, ending their duel. He then lands in front of the Green Lantern and Flash, and he teleports them all away. They all go to Alan Scott's tower in the middle of New York, where he has decided to help Jay and his mother fix their image problems with the World Army, and they can stay in the tower with him until they can go back to the public, and maybe they can all be a team now, because he's starting to realize he could use some help. So we now have Green Lantern, Hawkgirl, Flash, and Dr. Fate. But at this exact moment, there's a new problem arising, as Steppenwolf has built his army, and he's preparing to battle against the world.
Damn, motherfucker can't catch a break.
Steppenwolf is beginning to build his army to conquer this planet since Darkseid wasn't around. The World Army is preparing for it by deciding that they need new recruits to battle against Steppenwolf. But while they discuss this, there is one individual that everyone thought was dead. Batman! But it's not the Batman that died. It's a new one that took the cowl. And 72 hours ago, he was fighting Mr. Icicle. He blasted Batman with a shot from his cold gun, and Batman dodged it, throwing a bola at Mr. Icicle. Then, after taking a full blast to the chest, he used a tool to heat it back up and remove the ice. Mr. Icicle then shoots at Batman again, and he saves the hostages before knocking Mr. Icicle out of a window and onto a rooftop where he grabs him and demands to know what he knows. Mr. Icicle explains that he was told by Kanto to prepare. All villains were. Kanto and Steppenwolf are both children of Darkseid, and while Steppenwolf is trying to function on his own ever since the boom tubes were called back, Kanto has been working towards Darkseid's plan still. So this new Batman decides that he needs to speak to this Hawkgirl and get the new Wonders involved. Meanwhile, Mr. Miracle and Big Barda, two individuals from the New Gods, just like Steppenwolf and Darkseid, are still on Earth, trying to avoid both Steppenwolf and Kanto, except Fury, Steppenwolf's mistress and Wonder Woman's daughter, catches them. Meanwhile, Hawkgirl is trying to track down the mystery that she was on the last time we were with her. Who killed Sam, Alan Scott, also known as the Green Lantern's lover? When her snooping leads her to some Apoco rats, some of the creatures left over from Apocalypse's attempted invasion, she outmaneuvers them and manages to take out all three of them with ease and her guns, until one explodes near her head as an explosive batarang takes it out. She looks up at a nearby tree, and there sits Batman, telling her to keep following this trail. Kanto, one of the assassins of Apocalypse, is behind everything. Then, in a puff of smoke, Batman is gone. Hawkgirl can't help but question her sanity. Who was that man? Batman is dead. Followed by the next question. What was Sam involved with that got him mixed up with Apocalypse? But across the globe, there's more important things starting. A war is beginning with the World Army preparing to attack Steppenwolf's army. Except, the Wonders have arrived! Green Lantern, Flash, and Dr. Fate come in prepared to end this battle before it can even start. While they're doing a great job dropping everyone in their way, that's not what matters. They're just here to get back at Steppenwolf for everything he's done for Darkseid. This is Dr. Fate, a man of magic and wonder, the Flash, fastest man alive, and the Green Lantern, the avatar of the green and the earth itself. Except the World Army would like to know, what do they think they're doing? Considering that they're working independently, didn't they even consider for a moment that this might be causing problems for things that the World Army already has in place? But the man with the bow says to Dodds, the leader of the World Army, that he thinks they should kill them now. Flash tells Robin Hood to try, and he corrects him. My name is Red Arrow. But the Green Lantern stops the argument. How about we follow your lead, Dodds? At that moment, one of the World Army troops explodes from a hit by Brutal. Everyone gets back to work fighting Steppenwolf's forces, with Adam holding back Brutal, and Green Lantern going in for the hit, except Brutal breaks free and spills the Green Lantern's blood. Just then, Dr. Fate is trying to throw everything at the Beguiler, but she throws everything back at him, throwing him to the ground. And Bedlam has the Red Arrow shooting at the Flash by turning everyone against everyone. In the end, the World Army and the Wonders can't beat Steppenwolf's forces, and once all of the heroes are beaten, Steppenwolf's forces head off to continue their war, leaving Flash to wonder, why did they leave everyone alive? Meanwhile, across the globe, Hawkgirl is looking for answers, and as she lands on the rooftop of a casino in Morocco, she finds herself disoriented by a violin and captured in a net. And in other parts of the world, Mr. Miracle is trying to save Big Barda from Fury. He grabs Fury's attention and he tells Barda to make a break for it. Tell Batman what they found today, and he'll keep Fury busy. Don't worry, he'll find Barda again, he will. Barda tells him that he better and she makes a break for it while Mr. Miracle wrestles with Fury. But their fight is interrupted by Red Tornado, telling them to both yield before the World Army. Back on the battlefield, the war is in full swing as Steppenwolf drops all of the World Army's troops before they can do anything else. Death and destruction are in his wake. To make matters worse, his trio of Brutal, Beguiler, and Bedlam are wrecking anyone that he happens to miss. And as he destroys the main World Army ship, the team leader, Amar Khan, and Mr. Terrific have to jump to safety. But the Wonders are all beginning to wake up, and since Dr. Fate has healed them, they are all prepared for round 2. That's when Dodds gets the order that the invasion has failed. Steppenwolf has destroyed everything. They are to get all of the survivors out of there and evacuate. So Green Lantern, Flash, and Dr. Fate change their mission to help. Except the Green Lantern sees Steppenwolf, so he flies straight over to sucker punch him, only to be hit in the back by Brutal. Both Steppenwolf and Brutal begin to beat the Green Lantern senselessly over and over. With his victory in hand, Steppenwolf...
Why they love jumping the Green Lantern, bro? If you know what I'm talking about, bro. They love jumping this man, bro. I want to bring up the clip where they jumped his ass in that Dark Side movie, animated movie, where he like, man, I got this, and the parademons, and they swatted his ass, and they started stumping his ass out, bro. Like, they love jumping his ass, bro.
Sees a camera nearby and he steps over to it. Hear this. When I first led the armies of Apocalypse, I did so in the name of Darkseid, but with the gateways closed, I am now Steppenwolf, your master. And that's when Brutal comes out of nowhere and splits Steppenwolf in two. Idiot. We are not his dogs. We will conquer Earth for Darkseid. Then Brutal's armor breaks away, revealing Superman. He is now working for Darkseid, and he is here to conquer the planet. Dodd sees the situation and he tells everyone, it's time to go. Just as Superman begins to split the planet!
Split the planet!
He rockets around the battlefield, dropping any who might oppose him. Meanwhile, deep in the World Army Arkham base, right underneath Superman, General Lane has just downloaded a program into the new Red Tornado. The brain scans of his daughter, Lois Lane. On the battlefield, Superman is literally ripping people in half, and the World Army calls for a full retreat. They are not prepared to fight against Superman. Meanwhile, back in a separate part of the World Army underground Arkham base, Batman has arrived in a smoke bomb, ready to accomplish his own mission.
I like the Batman Beyond fit, bro. I like the Thomas Wayne Batman Beyond fit. And if that's Thomas Wayne, I don't think that's Thomas Wayne. That's not Thomas Wayne. Thomas Wayne would have shot somebody's ass. Batman Daddy would have upped that bitch. I know that's not Thomas Wayne. I know that's not. Thomas Wayne, no matter what alternate universe, he gonna shoot a motherfucker. And the fact there was no gun so far, and he asked questions. Yeah, that's not Thomas Wayne, bro. That's not Thomas Wayne, bro. I don't know who that is. That is not Thomas, bro.
Back on the battlefield, Khalid...
I ain't gonna lie, I hope it's Alfred. But Alfred would have shot somebody's ass too, bro. I don't know, bro. I don't know who that
knows that he needs to try and stop Superman as Dr. Fate. But once he steps up to Superman, Superman grabs him and throws him into the ground, crushing the base beneath them before stomping on Khalid's head, shouting, "No more magic!" Luckily, the Flash runs in and grabs Khalid before Superman can kill him. Superman hit Dr. Fate so hard that he cracked the helmet of fate, and Khalid is losing his sanity fast. Back in the underground base, it has crumbled underneath the weight of Superman throwing Dr. Fate into it, and Lois in her new body is trying to find her father as he is now buried in the rubble. She then holds him in her arms as he passes on. Over with Batman, he has entered into the main chamber of the facility that he's in, the holding facility for all of the villains that the World Army has captured, all the powered individuals. Back with Superman, Flash throws a rock at his head, and he realizes that he probably could have thought this out better. Deep down in the Arkham tunnels, Lois tackles Batman and asks him what he's doing. And did he beat up the guards outside of the door? He then grabs her robotic hand and snaps it, pushing her to the ground. She can only ask, "How? What happened to you, Bruce?" And Batman stops. Bruce? Using that chance, Major Sato, one of the World Army soldiers, shoots Batman in the head, and Lois turns around asking, "What's going on?" They both look back at Batman's body, and he's gone, and he's opening one of the cells. Major Sato tells him to stop. Does he even know what she's capable of? And the woman in the chamber grabs Batman by the throat. It is Aquawoman, Queen of the Seas, and Batman tells her that they are her friends. Meanwhile, the Flash is leading Superman on a chase around the world to get him away from the battlefield and the World Army's Arkham base. He's trying to allow them to retreat. Flash is faster than Superman, but Superman now has Omega beams that hit Flash in the back, allowing Superman to catch him. Upside down, the Flash asks him, "What happened to you? I have your poster on my wall." "Always nice to meet a fan," Superman tells him, and then he breaks the Flash's ankle. While this is happening, Dodson, Mr. Terrific, and Terry Sloan and the rest of the World Army are saving who they can from the crumbled part of the Arkham facility as Superman comes back to them holding the Flash upside down. "Sloan and Mr. Terrific, Darkseid has a use for you. You see, you two are the smartest individuals on this planet." Meanwhile, Batman is freeing more individuals from their chambers in the Arkham facility a few doors away. Now that he has Aquawoman, he frees Jimmy Olsen, a kid that can access any information network with his mind. After simply giving him a cell phone, he has the entire world's bank of knowledge in his head. And he tells everyone that Superman is back, and he's kind of a douche now. Oh, and there are parademons back also, and they're rising out of the fire pits that Superman just made. It's a full-blown secondary apocalypse invasion. But before they can leave the chamber, Batman says that he came for one more person. He begins to walk over to the Joker's cell, but he is stopped by Major Sato. "You can't free the Joker!" Batman takes the Major's gun and then shoots the Joker in the head in his chamber.
That might be Thomas Wayne.
was going to release him. We can go now. But before they can go, Jimmy says that he's accessed this facility and there is one more person that they should probably get below them. Major Sato says that that can't be right. They are on the lowest level. But Jimmy says no, there is a further basement. Aquawoman smashes the ground, breaking open a hole, and the whole team drops down one more level to find a giant vault containing a young African-American male. Meanwhile, Superman flies Mr. Terrific, Terry Sloan, and the Flash to the White House, where he drops them down in front of it. He then grabs the Washington Monument and he smashes the White House. Everyone nearby begins to flee in terror, but back in the deep underground, we may finally have a hope. The kid's name is Val, and once he falls to the ground in pain, Batman knows what this is. The kid is Kryptonian, because Batman has kryptonite around his neck. Over in front of the White House, Superman begins to make a speech. Apocalypse is dying. The gods have outlived their planet, but a new apocalypse will be born, and your planet will be readied. Rejoice! You have all been chosen. All hail Darkseid! While he gives his speech, Bedlam explains to Mr. Terrific and Terry Sloan what their purpose is. They will make a boom tube large enough for the entire planet, and it will be moved to Apocalypse's space. Meanwhile, Batman, Lois Lane, Jimmy Olsen, Major Sato, Aquawoman, and Val all make a break for the exit where Hawkgirl is waiting to airlift them out, and Lois uses her red tornado powers to lift everyone else out. The world is ending around them, but they aren't near defeated yet. As they make their escape, various parademons begin to chase them, but once they fly into the clouds, Aquawoman drops down and drowns the parademons by controlling the water in the clouds. They all make their way to the Batcave, where Batman sees Hawkgirl grabbed a few other survivors, the now insane Khalid, who should be Dr. Fate, and Red Arrow, Connor Hawke. It's at this time that they also realize Val has never left his home, and he's currently having a panic attack. But regardless of all of this, Batman tells everyone that they need a plan. Because back on the surface, Superman is having the Parademon army destroy every religious monument and building in the world. The people of Earth will now only worship Darkseid. There is only Darkseid. Back in the Batcave, Lois is trying to convince Val to fight with them. He is Kryptonian, and he is their only chance. It takes a little convincing, because he's having panic attacks every time that he considers leaving, but she does convince him to step out into the world. Batman opens the doors to his Batcave to allow their new weapon to charge up with the yellow sun. But you might be wondering, who is this Batman? Well, he does explain it to everyone there. He is Thomas Wayne. He didn't
Thomas
die in the
Wayne?
alley that night. He survived. And since he is a well-known surgeon with people trying to kill him, he went into hiding and he had the hospital fake his death. He then started a life of small-time crimes and drug addiction until Bruce found him. Furious that his father returned to a life of revenge on the man who killed Martha Wayne, instead of having a life with Bruce, he left his father there. But once Bruce sacrificed himself to stop Darkseid the first time, Thomas Wayne decided to honor his memory by becoming Batman. He does rely on his drugs to give him strength to continue, though. He is a 60-year-old man. The World Army tries to escape through one of Sandman's portals, but Adam tells him that he'll stall Superman to buy them some time. Superman then grabs Adam by the arm, and using his heat vision, he cuts off Adam's giant arm. He then begins to beat Adam with his own arm until he is unconscious.
But there's nobody more savage than an evil Superman, bro. And this the evilest Superman you ever gonna see in your life. This boy, who cut somebody's arm off with heat vision and beat them to death with it, bro? God damn.
Jimmy Olsen in the Batcave gets reports that Superman has flown around the world stopping the World Army in every major city of the world. They have failed. Dr. Fate then screams out from the corner of the cave about crumbles and an exodus. You see, Superman has crushed and cracked the helmet of fate, and he's been growing more and more insane since then. Red Arrow demands that they leave the cave and they do something. They can stop Superman. But Batman challenges him to face off with Superman using a weapon from 500 years ago. He would be useful if they were attacking Batman's castle or something. Everyone is frustrated. They don't have a plan of attack and they can't think of a way to stop Superman. So Major Sato suggests a final fallback. The World Army has been using the island of Amazonia as their fallback home. It's been shrouded from the world in magic, and it's the last bastion of hope. Though no Amazons have lived there since Darkseid's original attack. Dodds tells Commander Khan on the island that he was only able to evacuate less than 100,000 soldiers, and he only has 10 million remaining civilians. Khan is distraught, and Dodds tells him it's not his fault. He couldn't have seen this coming, but Khan doesn't accept that. He feels that he was arrogant and underprepared for this type of attack. It gets even more concerning for him as he gets word that the world government has begun Project Beyond. They built a space ark as a final effort to save the doomed planet's wealthiest and most powerful. They waste no time launching it into space at increasing speeds. Superman sees them trying to make an escape and he decides to make an example of them with Beguiler's help. He tears open the bottom of the space ark and he allows everyone inside to fall back to Earth to allow the 1% to trickle down. Khan tries to call up to Atlantis to plead with Aquawoman to help, but she refuses. The World Army is the one that trapped her in the capsule, making her a prisoner. Jimmy Olsen interrupts their call to inform them Major Sato might have a plan to stop Superman. Meanwhile, Bedlam is mind-controlling two of the smartest individuals on the planet, Mr. Terrific and Terry Sloan, and he's forcing them to help Mr. Miracle, whom is also being mind-controlled, into building a boom tube big enough to move a planet. Bedlam can tell that Terry Sloan is hiding something deep in the recesses of his mind, and when he finds out what it is, he calls up Superman to let him know. They're hiding a Kryptonian. He flies to the location that they are being kept and he grabs Terry by the throat, demanding to know about the Kryptonian. Bedlam tells him to stop. They need Sloan, and they've got all of the information already. The Kryptonian's name is Val-Zod, and he was sent from Krypton at the same time as Superman, but he ended up here much later for some reason, and Sloan is the one who found him. He was placed into the Arkham facility, but he was taken from it. Bedlam then shows Superman a camera image of Aquawoman and Batman. That's impossible. This man is our greatest threat! Back at the Batcave, Lois Lane is trying to teach Val-Zod about his powers, because once he arrived, he was locked up deep underground. He never saw sunlight, and he never knew that he had powers. But as he's getting a handle on simple flying, parademons arrive with Superman leading the charge. He whips past Lois and Hawkgirl and he buries Val-Zod into the ground. He then prepares to begin beating on him when Lois Lane stands in front of him. Clark, it's Lois! He pauses for the first time since the invasion, and the fury in his eyes begins to lift. Put him down, Clark! Superman doesn't know what to do, so he drops Val-Zod on the ground. But you died, you can't be here. Then Lois is hit in the back by the parademons. She falls into Superman's arms as he shouts, "No!" blasting and killing every parademon right above them. Lois Lane can't believe that Superman is now killing. So Val-Zod and Hawkgirl go to safety, and Lois leaves with Superman. But before Val-Zod and Hawkgirl can get to safety, more parademons arrive and they begin blasting them. So Val covers Hawkgirl with his body, taking all of the hits, until the Green Lantern appears to make a shield and protect them. Hawkgirl looks up to him in shock. Everyone thought that he died when Superman and Steppenwolf beat him. But then the Green Lantern blasts all of the parademons. Yeah, I can't tell you how much that pissed me off. Superman brings Lois back to the Kent farm in Kansas, to his parents. He's acting weird, like he's trying to be his old self. He exclaims, "Mom, Dad, Lois is alive!" Terrified, the Kents tell him to come in. While Lois tries to explain to the Kents what's going on, Superman makes a call. And, looking through Lois's eyes, everyone in the Batcave is able to see him make it. He's calling Bedlam to inform him that he was right. Everyone is in Gotham and they are at the old Batcave. Batman tells everyone that they need to get out of here and get to Themyscira, but the Green Lantern says that he is done running. It's time to fight. Before they can do anything else, the Warhound breaks through the cave with the parademons. They are here already. Red Arrow begins firing his arrows at them. Hey, look, Batman, they're attacking your castle, just before he gets bit in the neck by one of the Warhounds. Then, when the extraction arrives, Dodds makes a portal right there and everyone begins running into it, except Green Lantern. He is blasting everything and asks Hawkgirl to stay with him. He has a plan. Then, the Azrael protocol goes off and the whole cave explodes as the portal closes behind everyone else. Meanwhile, the Flash is being held captive ever since Superman caught him by breaking his ankle. Green Lantern survived by making a protective bubble in the explosion, and he even kept a parademon alive. He tells the demon to report that they have failed. Then, as the demon is leaving, Green Lantern explains the ring found Hawkgirl, but he can't find the Flash, and he wants Hawkgirl to help him follow the demons back to the Flash. As Batman and the team hits the ground of Amazonia, Khan calls out for a medic for Red Arrow, but Batman tells him not to bother. Red Arrow is lost. Then he turns to Val Zod. Why didn't you do anything? You could have torn them apart. I know you don't like violence, but do you like this? He says, pointing to Red Arrow. Because it's on you. Val steps away from a very angry Batman and Jimmy chases after him. Thomas Wayne, I know who you are. I get that you can't fight back either because you didn't have your super strength formula, but Val couldn't either. But he sure as hell was doing what he could to protect us. Frankly, someone that powerful choosing non-violence is incredible. And being a doctor, you just yelling at someone for caring about life is stupid. You need to stop being so damn negative. I was seriously considering becoming your new Robin, but if that's gonna happen, we need to talk about your attitude. While this is going on, the Green Lantern and Hawkgirl follow the parademon back to the White House, where there are legions of parademons. Hawkgirl begins looking for Jay, while Green Lantern makes a distraction and begins fighting all of the parademons himself. It doesn't take long for her to find him and get him out of there, allowing the original three Wonders to reunite. Green Lantern, Hawkgirl, and Flash. But back on Amazonia, Jimmy Olsen goes to chat with Val. He tells him Batman was wrong. Connor Hawke wasn't his fault. Then he asks what he's hiding underneath that hoodie. Nothing. Well, I have a photographic memory, and I know you haven't taken that thing off since we got you out. Don't you think it's time for a change of clothes? Yeah, okay. And Val Zod tears off his hoodie to reveal the crest of the House of L. Batman and Khan begin getting reports from Hawkgirl that they just freed Flash and are being chased across the Pacific by an army of parademons and one very angry god, because Beguiler isn't happy. Val finishes taking off his normal clothes, revealing the entire uniform of the House of L. Lord and Jor-El took him in after his parents were punished by the Kryptonian Science Council, and he was hiding the crest for obvious reasons. No one's really a fan of Superman right now. When it was Krypton's time to die, Val was sent away with Clark, Kara, and another Kryptonian. The Green Lantern finally falls though, and it's up to Hawkgirl to save everyone from Beguiler. That is until Aqua Woman comes out of nowhere, creating a tidal wave to drop the demons and Beguiler. Using this opportunity, the Flash grabs her and runs as fast as he's ever run before, faster than any Flash before. Things go white around him, and even he has no idea where he is. He's never run this fast before, and then Beguiler vanishes. He runs back to his friends and he tells them that he thinks maybe he pushed Beguiler into infinity. Hawkgirl
threw that motherfucker in the Speed Force. Let's go. Stop playing with him. Put a motherfucker ass
calls it in and tells
Force.
Batman his ambush worked. Aqua Woman saved them. With Beguiler gone, Batman asks where Superman is, and they watch through Lois's eyes once again. Superman has snapped, and he is setting the table, and then he runs out to the barn to get Pa. Pa Kent tells him that he doesn't want to sit there and pretend that Clark is. Clark stops him. Pretend I'm what, Pa? Come inside and show Lois some hospitality. You and Ma are too old to be of use to Darkseid when he arrives, so let's enjoy this while we can. They sit down and they begin eating chicken, and Jonathan Kent has had enough. He stands up and he shouts, "Screw Darkseid! I'm tired of being afraid." Superman stands up and he blasts Jonathan Kent into dust. Lois then stands up. "You can't be him! Clark would never have done that!" Superman is in shock. "Don't say that! I love you!" But before they can do anything, Bedlam calls it in to tell Superman that the Gateway is ready. They're ready to move Earth into the position of Apocalypse, and they need him back. Then, Sloan has Mr. Miracle release the beam. Dr. Fate looks up and he can only say, boom. With the device working, everyone can tell that they are taking Earth and they are moving it. They are about to lose this war. So Batman asks Khan, is there enough army for one final push to stop where the beam is coming from and stop this merger? Yes. Then let's go. Dr. Fate walks over to Val Zod and he puts the helmet onto Val Zod, allowing him to see everything. Val then takes the helmet off and he tells Dr. Fate, I won't kill Kal-El. Then using his heat vision, he fixes the helmet to bring Dr. Fate back, though he does need to heal mentally from that. Meanwhile, in space, the Green Lantern is using everything he has to hold the planet in place until Superman comes up and grabs him by the throat. But before he can smash Alan Scott's head in, Val-Zod grabs Superman's hand, stopping him. Down on the planet, Batman leads the charge as they prepare for the final fight by jumping in and burying a Warhound's head into the ground. Batman has his strength again. And nearby, Superman and Val-Zod hit the ground. Superman might be evil, but he's not stupid, and he begins to fly right to the location of the beam to prevent them from stopping it. But Lois gets in his way, stopping him long enough for Val-Zod to charge in from behind and try to pull him away. Superman then flips the tables and slams Val into the ground. While this is happening, Flash grabs Aqua Woman and runs her into the building where Mr. Miracle, Sloan, Mr. Terrific, and Bedlam are. She begins beating on Bedlam right away, getting him out of the building and onto the ground in front of Batman. With Bedlam out of commission, Sloan, Terrific, and Miracle are free of his mind control and they begin trying to stop the machine. Seeing the boom tube fading, Green Lantern comes back down to the surface of Earth to help in the war effort, and he asks Aqua Woman how she stopped Bedlam. She explains that she basically caused him to have water on the brain. The Queen of Atlantis just gave a god a stroke. Flash asks, "Is this it? Did we stop the war?" "No. There's still Superman, Flash." And a little ways off, Val-Zod and Superman are going at it, until Superman's hand begins to crumble. "What's wrong with you?" Val asks him. "What did you do to me?" he asks back. He begins to crumble and fade, and Lois appears stating, "It's not Superman." His face begins to crack and his speech patterns begin to change. "Me am Superman! Lois! Me am Superman!" Then, using her tornado, she blows away the dust that was the fake Superman, ending this. "Now what?" the Flash asks. And the Green Lantern stands there with the new team. "Now, we take our world back." Constantine stands up surrounded by parademons, realizing that he isn't home any longer. Suddenly, a flash of light forms around him, killing all of the parademons, and in front of him is Watan, one of Dr. Fate's villains. He tells Constantine that he knows that he is a world walker, capable of leaving this dimension, and since this world is ending, he would like to leave now. Constantine pulls out a trinket to try and fight back, but Watan destroys it in his hands, leaving him with very little options. Meanwhile, over in Liverpool, England, the John Constantine of this world is sitting with his friends, having a final pint before the end of the world. They all comment how they won't get to live their lives, and this is truly the end. And that's when John stands up and he braces himself on the table. Over with Constantine, he feels the same wooziness and he hits the ground. Looking up at Watan, he asks him, "What did you call me? World Walker?" So Watan explains that Constantine has crossed between the universes, walking the road of the gods to this dying world. He then grabs a hold of Constantine and he realizes that Constantine couldn't have sent himself here. Some truly powerful magician must have. Watan begins to cast a spell on him to turn him into the Gateway, but Constantine offers up an alternative. He claims that he knows how to cast the spell, so if Watan lets him live, he can make things a whole lot easier and he doesn't have to die. Watan is suspicious, but he does agree. Meanwhile, over in Liverpool, John hits the ground in an immense amount of pain. Constantine, back with Watan, puts his feet on the ground, lights a cigarette, and he begins to start the incantation. While in Liverpool, John begins to clutch his chest. The spell begins to open up a gateway through Constantine all the way to John. And seeing his escape from this doomed world, Watan begins to pass through it. But since there are two John Constantines in this world, the gateway is looping back on itself, and Watan is on his way to Liverpool, creating a bridge from Constantine to John. Then Constantine begins to close the gateway with Watan halfway through it, cutting him in half, with his head bouncing off the ground in front of John and his friends. Using Watan's blood, Constantine starts to prepare some magic, because with two John Constantines in one place, he honestly has no idea what will happen if he tries to leave this world. He will need all of John Constantine, both halves, in one spot, so he comes up with a plan. And thus, Constantine's journey begins on Earth 2. He steals a car and he begins to drive to the location of John, and while he's going there, he tells himself with fire burning around him, and the skies as dark as night, that this isn't hell. He's in another universe. None of this is real. Don't stop and help anyone. Just get to your other half and get off of this world. He sees people being beat down and cars exploding and people in dire straits, but he tells himself, ignore it. It's not real. Get off this world, Constantine. He drives as the moon breaks apart and it begins to fall around him, bringing meteors to the ground. Constantine swerves out of the way, but one of the meteors crash lands right next to him and he smashes his head on the windshield. In a dreamy haze, you can see two eyes and the sign of fate. They tell him to get to Liverpool and ignore everything. Fate will meet him there. He wakes back up and he holds a cold rag to his forehead. In front of him was another car, one that he saw earlier with a young girl in the back seat. And when he looks up, the back seat door is open. Constantine knew that this wasn't good, but he also knew that this girl wasn't real. He shouldn't save her. Be a waste of his time. Tries to convince himself to drive away. Ignore this, but he can't. He just couldn't do it. He took her headphones that were in the back seat and he followed the trail into a field where he saw her dead body and the murderer standing there with a gun. He forced the murderer to shoot himself in the head and then he left. He drove until he ran out of gas and then he walked, and eventually he found himself in his old town with the old house with the same white door. He knocked on it and the door was opened by his father, and inside he saw his father, his old friends, and John the doppelganger. John gets up off the couch and he lunges at this imposter, but once he touches Constantine, they see each other's lives, and John knows what this is. It's an alternate version of him, and this version of him is a wonder, a superhero. He can save them all. So Constantine sits with his alternate world family and he tells them that he's going to save them all. And at that moment, the doors and the windows break open and random thugs come crashing in. So Constantine hits the streets telling everyone to run and follow him. They run into men in SWAT outfits launching tear gas, but as they pull through it together, they make their way to an old brick factory. There, Constantine gets himself all bandaged up and he explains how bad this really is. Darkseid is known for his cruel nature, and he won't allow anyone to escape. So he needs to place a protection circle on the ground, one to save them all before he can cast a spell to get everyone out of this dimension. The problem is, though, there are 2 John Constantines, and it's continuing to ruin Constantine's magic. So they put down the protection circles, and Constantine explains to everyone that if they do this, there will be a cost, and no one knows what it is, but there will always be a cost that they'll have to pay. And once they start, it'll summon anyone in tune with magic to their location. Once he starts his spells, it begins to work right away, because Dr. Fate arrives, asking to speak with the World Walker. He lands in front of everyone, demanding that Constantine open the door. This planet is under siege, but Constantine hesitates. He knows what he'll need to do, and he isn't sure if he should. He has to kill his doppelganger or himself. If he kills his doppelganger, he'll be killing a better man than himself. But if he kills himself, he'll be doing it to save the alternate world versions of his family. Is it worth it? Are they real? He ponders this while taking a drag off his cigarette, and Fate sees what's going on. The 2 John Constantine souls are intertwined. He offers Constantine the use of the Helmet of Fate. If he puts it on, he can untangle their souls and save everyone. But this would just make Constantine a slave to Naboo, just as Khalid is underneath that helmet right now. He isn't ready to give himself up to Naboo and the helmet. At that moment, the parademons begin to crash through the ceiling, and Fate begins to use everything he has to try and stop it. While blasting the parademons, John of Earth 2 puts it together, and he asks Constantine, "Is it me? Am I the one causing the problems?" Everyone starts to fall around him, the family that he never had, the good people, and it's all because Constantine won't kill himself. He knows what he should do, but will he? Will he do it? Or will he take the helmet? But Constantine is not a good man, and he decides no. He takes the knife and he stabs his doppelganger in the stomach, ending his life. As the John of Earth 2 hits the ground, the portal begins to open, and in a flash of light, Constantine and his Earth 2 family teleport away, leaving Fate there, cursing them for leaving him behind. He protected them. John's family comes to Constantine's side, realizing that this doppelganger killed their son, and they tell Constantine that they will make him pay. But he tells them, there is a price. I told you that there would be. As they try to kill Constantine, the spell continues, and in an explosion, Constantine finds himself on a glowing platform between the realms, carrying himself and the family to the proper Earth. Finally having enough of this, he tells them to stay down while he saves them, and they tell him that they don't care. He killed the best man that they knew. The disc flies past heaven itself, and they see it under siege in this realm. Darkseid is trying to conquer Earth to ensure no one on Earth 2 is safe, and they will have nowhere to go but apocalypse in their death. And in a turn of events, Fate sends up chains to grab them, demanding that they do not leave him on this doomed planet. The hooks dig into Constantine's back and his Earth 2 mother and father. Fate tries to convince Constantine to become one with him again, telling him that together they could save everyone, but if Constantine stays alone, he will lose them one by one. He jumps over, getting the hook out of his own back, and then he saves his father, but as he tries to save his Earth 2 mother, he watches her get dragged off of the disc and down onto the doomed world. Again, his Earth 2 family is distraught. They are losing people all over the place to save what? Themselves? Is it even worth it? How could Constantine think that they would want this? Their ride brings them past the Green, under assault by the parademons, and then past the Rot, also doomed, and they see all of the realms tied to Earth 2, and they see that Darkseid is about to rule everything. But they aren't home free yet. Constantine begins to feel something in his mind, something giving him a headache, and it's something that sees him, something that they didn't want to follow them through this journey. As they arrive on the proper Earth that Constantine started for, with a multitude of survivors that he managed to pick up with his spell, the voice reveals itself to be Darkseid himself. He reaches a hand through the road between worlds, and his hand reaches out for Constantine, demanding to know where he's gone. But that's when something else gets his attention. What world is this? Where did Constantine take everyone? Constantine starts to drop the other survivors into Darkseid's path as decoys, and then he realizes he needs to perform one last trick. It's the only way to save who he can. He lets his magic consume him, and he lets it take over his entirety. And then John Constantine died in space as he threw all of the survivors to the planet Earth. But it's not the truth. truth. He used everything he had for one last trick. He made Darkseid think that this universe was one that he had already conquered and that it was a dead universe. But once he saw Constantine dead and the universe consumed, Darkseid turned away. Constantine himself floated through space, and then he entered the orbit of the planet and he came crashing down next to his Earth 2 family. His alternate Earth 2 father pulls a gun on him and he tells him to look at him so that he can shoot him. And Constantine turns to him telling him, "I saved you, yeah? I never did anything with my sodden life, but I did this." And his alternate father tells him, "You didn't save Marianne, and since you didn't, I would rather be dead." So Constantine takes the gun and he holds it to his forehead. "I told you if we did this, it would cost us something. Everything costs something. So do it. Pull the bloody trigger." His alternate father turns away. He can't do it. So the alternate John's girlfriend walks over, takes the gun, telling everyone that she can do it, and she pulls the trigger. But it was another trick. John Constantine teleported away into the nearby cliffside. The Earth 2 family looked around and they saw that the other survivors that he had saved hadn't made it, and they decided that it was time to figure out what to do next. They were safe from Darkseid, and Constantine looked down from the cliffside that he was on at the beach that they were standing on before lighting a cigarette. He went back to New York to take a seat at the bar, because the life of John Constantine is as crappy as it will always be.
Damn, I ain't gonna lie to you. Yeah, that's a John. Yeah, that's John.
Now our
Constantine
wonders
life in a
have been
nutshell.
dealing with the aftermath. There are still parademons all over the planet attacking, and they have been split into two groups to stop them. While this is going on, the World Army is preparing a defense for the next attack. They know it's coming. The Flash is running around the world gathering intel from every location, since communications around the world were destroyed in the second invasion. As the Flash runs into the Chicago stronghold, we see three individuals in refuge: Dick Grayson, Barbara Grayson, his wife, and their son Johnny. Things are bad, the entire world is in ruins and everyone is trying to recover from the destruction. But Grayson's goal is to keep his family safe. Nothing will change that. Across the world in Switzerland, two individuals have finally found a way home. During the first invasion, Supergirl and Robin went missing when they chased some of Darkseid's troops through a boom tube. They ended up on Earth Prime and took the names Power Girl and Huntress. Then they found a way to get back home to Earth 2, and they arrived to see all of the destruction as they look on in shock.
Bro, I never knew that. I never knew Power Girl. I knew Power Girl was from a different universe. I just never knew it was from Earth 2. And I never knew Huntress was from a different universe. That's crazy. I never knew that.
And then they see a television displaying this world's heroes. A new Superman, a new Batman, and a woman in red. Val, Batman, Green Lantern, and Lois are all trying to save people as one of Apocalypse's fire pits erupts in the middle of the city. Earth is still highly unstable as Apocalypse is trying to ruin the planet itself. Lois wonders if it's even worth saving. They can't stop the planet from destroying itself, and that's when Power Girl and Huntress fly over. While this is happening, Bedlam is keeping control of his servants. They will build him a new way to bring Apocalypse here. The planet was prepared, now they just need to finish what they started. Luckily, Mr. Miracle has been waiting for the right moment to break free, and that's when a boom tube to Apocalypse opens up once again. Miracle realizes that it's either now or never to act against Bedlam. Power Girl and Huntress land, and they demand to know who these imposters are. Who dares wear the symbol of Superman and Batman? Batman is in shock. "Helena, I thought you died. It's me, Thomas Wayne, your grandfather." And Lois explains that it is her in this robot body. So Kara embraces her, calling her Mama. But before any more happy moments can start, the boom tube brings forth what it was summoning. In Pakistan, London, Brazil, and Geneva, creatures of Apocalypse rise out of the fire pits. The Furies of Apocalypse! Our heroes all go into a fight with the woman calling herself Kali. But without even breaking a sweat, she manages to throw Power Girl aside, drop Huntress, dispose of the Green Lantern, and drop Batman. Power Girl comes up from behind and tries to hold Kali, but she throws Power Girl into Val-Zod, taking him out of the equation. Meanwhile, back at the World Army's base, Jimmy Olsen, a kid with the ability to control and read any technology, can see the Furies rising, and he warns how bad this just got. Commander Khan of the World Army puts in a call to Batman, telling him that there are 3 more of these Furies rising, as Batman puts out the call to tell Hawkgirl, Dr. Fate, and Aqua Woman where to go. He then sends the Green Lantern off to Brazil. While everyone is getting ready to fight, the parademons rise out of the fire pits, but they aren't the normal parademons. They are the reanimated corpses of everyone that has died. Apocalypse is using Earth's own dead against them. And with that realization, Kali jumps back in to fight the Wonders. Back at the World Army's base, Major Sato and Commander Khan look at the reports of a very large object en route to Earth. It's Apocalypse. It's finally here. So Commander Khan tells her to look into Dodd's search for Oliver Queen. They're going to need Oliver Queen. Kali knocks Lois out and then grabs a civilian, stabbing the civilian in the back and changing her into a parademon. They don't even need people to be fully dead anymore. The woman screams out in pain as she begins to change into a follower of Apocalypse. Over with Bedlam. Mr. Miracle uses his abilities to break the mind control over Mr. Terrific and Terry Sloan. Like he said, it's now or never. Mr. Miracle pushes himself, Sloan, and Bedlam into the labyrinth that is Sloan's mind, hoping to lose Bedlam there. Bedlam uses Sloan's own guilt against him by summoning those that he killed when he opened up the fire pits. In his mind, he finds himself fighting those souls that he sacrificed. But Miracle pushes Bedlam aside, breaking his hold, and Sloan digs his thumbs into Bedlam's eyes before throwing him down into the deeper recesses of his own mind. Then they leave the mindscape and are free. The greatest minds on the planet are back on the side of good. They make their way to the World Army's base, and it's there that they get the report. Apocalypse will collide with the planet in 24 days. Back with the Wonders, they are still fighting against Kali, and she manages to cut Huntress, Lois, and Power Girl with a weird weapon, turning them into members of Darkseid's army. In 3 quick moves, they drop Batman and Val Zod. Then Kali stands over the two of them victorious with her new toys. She goes in to smash Batman's head, and Val...
These motherfuckers can't catch a break. I ain't gonna lie to you. These motherfuckers can't catch a break. I don't think there's a universe and DC that's as bad as this, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. This is worse than Injustice. This is worse than Deceased. These motherfuckers can't catch a break. God damn. But it's a definition that's always something, bro.
Wakes up just in time to grab Batman at super speed and get him out of there. Huntress jumps into battle against Batman, and Val Zod begins fighting against Power Girl, and Kali gives Lois the order to watch, then destroy the city. She has things to do. Back at the World Army's headquarters, the order to interrogate Mr. Miracle has come down, but Commander Khan refuses, so they send in Dodds, the Sandman, to conduct it. Mr. Miracle is playing along, but he's growing tired of these games. He is here to help, and he wants his mother box back. Over in London, Hawkgirl and Dr. Fate have arrived, prepared to defend it, but another individual fell into the multiverse and he now finds himself on Earth 2, John Constantine. Back with Batman and Superman, they are getting wrecked by their former friends. Luckily, as Kali leaves, Lois's systems realize that something is wrong, and they begin to reset her memories, freeing her of Kali's hold. She manages to create massive tornadoes around Kara and Helena, knocking them to their senses. With Kali gone, Batman realizes that they need to go to the source of the fire pits. They need to stop these pits finally. Back at the World Army's base, Big Barda and Fury break open the roof of the interrogation room, freeing Mr. Miracle. He insists that he told them to be patient. Meanwhile, Batman calls up the Green Lantern to ask if he can protect the surface while he goes into the fire pits with Lois, Helena, Kara, and Val Zod. Green Lantern lets Batman know that he lost sight of the creature in Brazil, but he will watch the surface. He then asks if anyone's heard from Aqua Woman. This whole time, she's been swimming down to Atlantis, and it is there that she finds that most of its inhabitants are dead. A Fury has slaughtered them all. Back at the World Army headquarters, Mr. Miracle learns why Big Barda and Fury couldn't wait. The armies of Apocalypse have breached the island, and the battle has begun on Amazonia Island, where the World Army is. Mr. Miracle runs into the main room and Commander Khan offers him a trade, his mother box in return for intelligence on how to infiltrate Apocalypse. It's their only option, to return with an invasion of their own. Mr. Miracle agrees, but tells Commander Khan that it won't work. Everyone on this world is lost. There is only one way to save them. Jimmy Olsen brings the mother box over and Mr. Miracle is surprised that the mother box didn't fry him for touching it. He must be chosen. When Jimmy asks what for, he tells him it is not for him to say. Realizing that the mother box has answers, Fury demands to know her history. Miracle warns her that she isn't ready for it, but she touches the box anyway and she learns that Steppenwolf is her father, Wonder Woman is her mother, and Steppenwolf killed Wonder Woman and then used his own daughter to slaughter the other Amazons. While this is going on, Aqua Woman calls up Commander Khan to let him know Atlantis has fallen and she will use their secret weapon on the world. She is sorry. Back with the Green Lantern, he is finally able to relax when out of nowhere, Grundy breaks out of the ground, the Avatar of the Grey, to fight against the Avatar of the Green.
Steppenwolf's father, Wonder Woman, was her mother. How the fuck did that happen if she got stabbed?
Meanwhile, at the World Army's base, Miracle returns to the group to tell them that no humans can survive a trip to Apocalypse. And Sloan and Terrific tell them that they have ideas. They are the smartest people on the planet. Over in the fire pits, the group has outfitted themselves with prototype suits from the World Army, and they are prepared to descend into the fire pit. But before they can get very far inside, Desaid grabs Helena by the foot, and he holds her over the fire pit's hottest portions. Back in Brazil, the Green Lantern begins battling against Grundy, but their battle is quickly stopped as the Green itself arrives and tells both of them that they need to work together to save the planet. They have to team up with the other avatars, the red, the blue, and the white, and if they don't, the entire world will be lost. Meanwhile, back at the World Army's base, Jimmy Olsen is hit with a message from the Mother Box, informing him that he has a special mind and a special role, and today, he dies. Inside the fire pit, the team tries to save Helena, but Desai doesn't even waste time jumping into the fire pit holding Helena. No one even dares follow. Kara screams out since she just lost her friend, her sister, but Thomas Wayne isn't going to be defeated by that. He chugs down more of his drugs that give him speed and strength, and then he tells them that they are going to finish this. They are the solution. And they walk deeper into the fire pits to discover the most shocking discovery of them all. Clark Kent, Superman himself, unconscious and laid out on the floor of the fire pits. Dr. Fate, Hawkgirl, and Flash all started a battle against another Fury called Famine, and using Fate's power, he managed to suck the power of Famine into himself. While this did defeat Famine, it turned Fate into Famine. Before he could figure out a better plan, the Helmet of Naboo felt a mate, and Dr. Fate left Hawkgirl and Flash to begin to seek it out. Far beneath the oceans, Aqua Woman was pleading with Atlantis' greatest weapon to come to her aid, as most of Atlantis had been killed by the Furies, and she had lost her kingdom to this. Through her pleading, a great beast was awakening. Back in the fire pits, Lois Lane was trying to figure out how Clark Kent was alive. What did Desai do? But the rest of the group walks deeper into the chamber to discover they were cloning the Man of Steel. That's another clone, and there are a lot of Superman clones in the next room. Helena wakes up bound by Desai, and he tells her that he has a gift for her. She tells him that Waynes don't break, and he tells her not to worry. She won't be a Wayne for much longer. Tears begin to well up in her eyes as she looks around, seeing corpses torn in two and wires hanging out of them. Green Lantern and Grundy are in a route to the location of the first Avatar, the Avatar of White, and Alan Scott is in shock when it leads him to the chateau of his lover Sam. Meanwhile, in a Chicago refugee camp, Dick and Barbara Grayson are trying to fend off the scavengers trying to get to the rations, when someone steps up introducing himself as Ted Grant. Over at the World Army's base on Amazonia, everyone begins to feel hungry and faint as the power of famine flies overhead. Mr. Miracle realizes that their base has just been discovered, and he holds up his Mother Box to declare war on Apocalypse. But then the Mother Box teleports itself into the hands of Jimmy Olsen, the tech genius. And at that moment, Dr. Fate lands in front of both Jimmy and the Mother Box. With the powers of famine killing everyone around him, Fate tells Jimmy, this is going to hurt. Down in the fire pits, Lois and Kara decide to try and find the real Clark Kent, but Thomas Wayne, the current Batman, tells them that he's going to go find Helena. He's not gonna go look for the shadow of a man. He needs to find his granddaughter. Then the clones begin breaking out of their tubes. Thomas begins chugging his strength-enhancing drug, and he tells Val Zod to back off, showing him kryptonite. And then Kara gets mad at him for even having kryptonite, and in response to Thomas's drug-addled anger, Val Zod melts the rest of his drugs. Back at the Green Lantern, Alan Scott walks into the chateau and he finds a note and a ring from Sam. Sam was going to propose to him the day that the train crashed, and he died. But that's when Alan gets a surprise as Sam appears before him as the Avatar of White. But Sam explains that he is no longer Sam, he is only the Avatar. Alan doesn't want to accept this, and Grundy laughs at Alan's misfortune until Sam slams him into a wall to teach him a lesson. Alan insists that they have a second chance, but Sam tells him that they only have one purpose now: save this planet, and they need to find the blue so that they can do it. Over at the World Army's base, Dr. Fate leans in, tapping his helmet against the Mother Box, and there is a massive expulsion of power, and then it seems to go into Jimmy Olsen. The scientist on site decides that the Helmet of Naboo must be another form of the Mother Box, and that it just procreated with another Mother Box. Jimmy is being transformed. All the way back in London, John Constantine has fallen into the multiverse and somehow ended up on Earth 2. Realizing the end of days has arrived, he throws his hand onto the ground to teleport to the old Arkham base, because he's going to need some friends. Back with the World Army, they've loaded up onto a spaceship intending to meet Apocalypse halfway to its destination of Earth, when they suddenly lose the planet from their radars, only to have it boom tube onto the moon, shattering it. They thought that they had close to a month until Apocalypse arrived, but now they have mere hours. Pieces of the moon begin to fall to the planet's surface, and realizing that he is the only one that can stop them, the Green Lantern takes off into space to block what he can, telling Sam and Grundy to find the Avatar Blue. Meanwhile, Jimmy has become something totally new, and no one knows what he's becoming. But at least the famine powers are gone, vanished from this world. As Khalid, the wielder of the Helmet of Fate, comes to his senses, he tells Jimmy that he left Hawkgirl and Flash in trouble. Much of the World Army begins to recover from their starvation, but over their heads they begin to see the meteors from the moon come crashing down towards them. They realize realize it's about to get even worse. It doesn't help that around the world, the powers of the Furies are striking the human population, giving them the rage of war, the horror of pestilence, and the curse of the waking dead. In Chicago, they are feeling these effects as Dick and Barbara Grayson are fighting for their lives and their son Johnny's life with the help of Ted Grant. It's almost as if the people have lost their minds, and then Ted Grant looks up to see the meteors and realizes that this is now a party. And while all of this is happening, Constantine is breaking people out of Arkham, people that have been forgotten there. Brainwave, Obsidian, Johnny Thunder, and Jeremy Carn. Jeremy tells Constantine that he isn't helping because Obsidian is the wrong color. So Constantine takes out his gun and he tells Obsidian, "I'm sorry, mate." And then he shoots Jeremy dead. "Sorry, I got some of Jeremy's blood on your coat." The Avatar of White and the Avatar of Gray begin making their way to the Avatar of Blue, when out of nowhere the Furies arrive and they begin slicing up Grundy, and then they start beating down Sam. Sam tries to call out to the Green Lantern, but Alan is busy blocking various meteors. During all of this, the World Army is standing on their ship on Apocalypse, and Batman, Lois, Val, and Kara all discover Apocalypse's trophy from their first fight with the real Superman. They took his family crest. Lois sheds a tear and she pulls it away from the trophy case, putting it inside of one of her storage containers for later use. Back with Hawkgirl and Flash, they have recovered from the famine that was on them, but then they discover that the people around them are being torn apart by rage, and they begin yelling at Hawkgirl and Flash, "Kill! Kill! Kill!" Flash thinks that he might have it under control until Hawkgirl swoops in, shouting, "Kill! Kill! Kill!" Flash begins to think, uh-oh, everyone's against me. Up in the air with the Avatar of White almost dead, the Green Lantern comes in and begins bombarding the Furies with his power of the Earth. And as they hit the ground, Grundy starts to bind them there, because cutting him into pieces really doesn't stop him when he's already dead. And over at Atlantis, their secret weapon finally raises, and it becomes the Avatar of the Blue, a weapon so destructive that the Parliament is unsure if it will save or destroy the planet. John Constantine brings his new team to the Chicago refuge, just in time to see everyone trying to escape. A meteor hit Lake Michigan, and a tidal wave is coming to the city of Chicago.
Bro, I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't think the Furies was moving like this in the main DC. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. This can't be the same Dark Side. That can't be the same Apocalypse, bro. Cause the regular Furies, right? They cool. They decent. But they ain't have the four horsemen of Apocalypse powers, bro. If the Furies and Darkseid was moving like this, bro, they would have been conquering the main Earth. They would have been conquered that shit. That would have been conquered that motherfucker. I'm gonna tell you this one thing though. All that shit they doing, everything Apocalypse doing, that shit would not have flown. None of that shit would have flown in Marvel, bro. Let me tell you something, boy. That invasion would have got wrapped up in one day in Marvel, bro. They would have put belt to ass, bro. Hey, if you know, you know.
So everyone is trying to escape by train. He looks on as a redheaded woman is trying to fight with the thugs trying to gain control of the train. And then his team asks if they should intervene. But he decides to see how it's gonna play out. Everyone is panicking, but Barbara decides that no one will stop Barbara from getting her son out of this doomed city. She sucker punches one of the guys, and as he falls, he shoots Barbara in the stomach. Dick screams out, "No!" And their son cries out, "Mommy!" John from the hill silently says to himself, "Aw, damn it, John," as Dick is holding his wife in his arms, dead. Meanwhile, back at the fire pit, the device that was telling everyone that Helena was still alive has shut down. And Kara is furious. She will not lose her sister. She begins barreling through the building, crushing robots and stomping in their heads until Lois calls out to her, because she found something that looks like Superman, but not another clone of Superman, the actual Clark Kent. Using her powers as Red Tornado, she shatters the glass and she floats down there, and Clark struggles to get out the words. "Lois?" Lois helps him up. "It's you, Clark! Oh God, it's you!" Over with Flash and Hawkgirl. He can't get very far from Hawkgirl. He spent all of his time looking for his mother and he finally found her, but now Hawkgirl wants to kill him. That's when his mother tries to talk Kendra down, but the Flash has to deflect Kendra from harming his own mother. That's when Dr. Fate and Jimmy Olsen arrive, and Dr. Fate turns all of the rage into a thunderstorm so that it can fizzle out, clearing the minds of everyone, Hawkgirl included. Back in Apocalypse, the World Army, Mr. Miracle, Big Barda, and Fury all charge in, ready to attack the planet itself, and a giant multi-eyed purple head named Paternus. Paternus informs Mr. Miracle that he is nothing more than a pawn, a son of two fathers, because Darkseid isn't his real father. They then hit Paternus hard and remove the key that is in his forehead, infuriating him, so he breaks his whole body out of the middle of the planet. While Fury and Big Barda continue to beat on him, Mr. Miracle takes the key and he leaves for a hole to the center of the planet. Back down in the fire pits, a window behind all of them shatters, and there stands Helena, but she's changed and very different. She has wings, a whip, and reverse-jointed legs. Batman asks, "Helena?" And she sneers, "Not anymore!" Then Kara jumps in to fight her former sister, while Val, Zod, and Lois get Batman and Superman out of the room. Over at Chicago's refugee camp, Dick Grayson stands up and he walks the body of Barbara and his son to the train, informing the men who killed her that he will be leaving this place with the both of them. A man pulls a gun on Dick Grayson, telling him, "No dead bodies are rotting today." And then the man suddenly can't help himself as he puts the gun to his own forehead and pulls the trigger. John Constantine walks over, introducing himself and telling everyone that that was him. He then gets his friends to help beat down all of the gang members that started this. John then helps get Dick's son onto the train, and Dick tells his son, "Go! I'll find you again, son!" He then falls to his knees as the train leaves in tears with Barbara's body next to him. Back on Apokolips, Mr. Miracle's tunnel takes him down to the center of the planet, where he finally finds Darkseid himself. Darkseid doesn't even move or respond to Mr. Miracle's appearance, so he declares that he will find a way to stop Darkseid. Darkseid smiles. The rest of the world's army sees Mr. Miracle coming back up the tunnel, and he informs them that Darkseid is down there. So they give him a weapon that Mr. Terrific created using the technology of the boom tubes, the boom spheres. He brings it back down into the tunnel, and he surrounds Darkseid and his shields with the boom spheres. And then he declares that he is bringing Darkseid death before setting them off. Darkseid floats there smiling. "No, my son, you have given me my freedom." As Darkseid stands before Mr. Miracle, he begins hitting Mr. Miracle, and Barda turns on Fury and her lover as she informs them Darkseid will reward her well. Mr. Terrific and Sandman get the hell out of there as fast as they can, realizing that these are gods fighting it out. They don't stand a chance. Miracle and Fury begin to make a break for it as fast as they can, but Fury gets captured by Barda, and it pains Miracle to leave her behind. Miracle realizes quickly that the boom spheres can absorb the Omega beams, and he makes a play to get them absorbed, and then he makes a break forward in the resulting explosion. Darkseid survives, and he walks over to Fury, informing her that she will join him or be annihilated. Thus, Fury betrays Miracle as well. But all is not as it seems, because Fury is waiting for a moment in which she can free Miracle. They snuck through the hallways together and the tunnels and all the way into Darkseid's castle. And it's there that they happen across his throne room. And an interesting revelation. Terry Sloan stands there, one of the smartest men on the planet Earth, talking to Darkseid. He rode in on the invasion crew, but now he explains what he knows. That the High Father offered this universe to Darkseid if he would agree to a peace treaty. New Genesis sold out Earth 2. What Terry Sloan wants is a deal, a guarantee that Darkseid will leave his home universe alone and stay here in the universe of Earth 2. Terry Sloan is actually from another universe, and we have no idea what that universe is. Mr. Miracle is in shock that this is happening. But back on Earth, in the fire pits, Kara is fighting it out with her former friend Helena. The Huntress has been transformed into the Fury of Famine. She tries to talk her down, but Hell is barely in there any longer. She is now a soldier of Apokolips, and once Kara starts to break through, Hell leaves the area. She walks back over to Val Zod, Batman, Lois Lane, and Clark Kent. But before they can make any further plans, Desaad appears before them, the one who took Hell and changed her into that monster. Down in Chicago, Dick Grayson manages to get his son on the train out of the refuge, but now he is alone in Chicago, as it is about to be washed away from a tidal wave originating from Lake Michigan. As he decides to spend his last moments beating up on the people that killed his wife, Barbara, covered in the blood of his enemies, he looks on as the wave is coming closer. Back on Apokolips, Terry Sloan and Commander Khan prepare to leave Apokolips, but Commander Khan of the World Army isn't easily fooled, and he calls out Terry Sloan's plan. The ship they are on is going to explode, and Terry is wearing a flight suit so that he can escape. Sloan tries to defend his actions, telling Khan that he hasn't seen the same things that he has seen. They are doomed! So Khan cracks Sloan across the face and comes up with his own plan. Back down on Earth, they are preparing for the end of the world, so Major Sato of the World Army is enacting a plan to move everyone into the subway tunnels of the cities, using Flash, Hawkgirl, Dr. Fate, and Jimmy Olsen to lead the charge. The problem is there are many enemies in those tunnels, and the planet is currently doomed. So she comes up with a drastic plan, and she turns to Al Pratt, the Atom. He's been in recovery ever since the Superman clone cut off his arm and beat him to death with it. Back with the Avatars and their battle against the Furies of Darkseid, Huntress arrives to make matters worse for the group. With the added helper, they begin to beat down Earth's Avatars, and the Green Lantern turns his back on the world to save Sam, his former lover, now the Avatar of White, and Huntress tells him to look on as he saved only one life. Back in Chicago, with the water coming down fast, Ted Grant grabs Grayson and picks him up running as fast as he can away from the tidal wave. But deep Deep down in the fire pits, Desan reveals his plan to defeat the heroes. He took control of the Avatar of Red, Yolanda Montez, and that's the reason that the Avatars aren't strong enough to defeat the Furies. Various animals begin assaulting the heroes as the Red Avatar splits herself into more and more animals to fight against them. Even Kara is screaming out in pain as she's being crushed. Back on Apocalypse, Khan throws Sloane out of the ship and he makes a break for it. Khan decides that if this ship is going to explode, he'll try something insane. Down on the Earth in the tunnels cleared by the Wonders, Sato brings out Alprat, someone they haven't seen in a while, and she drops him down in the tunnel. He didn't say much as he went down into that tunnel to the open cave system deep beneath the Earth's crust. And Sato told him, "Godspeed, Sarge." Once he got into the cave structure, he grew as big as he could in that little small space to push it farther and make it larger, and he killed himself in his efforts. He made a place of hope, a place of refuge, and it would be called Adam's Haven. Sato thanked him for his sacrifice and ordered him to rest in peace, soldier. While this was going on, Khan was flying right into Darkseid's tower, and he was preparing to destroy himself and take out Darkseid, hopefully. But Darkseid's Omega beams went sideways, taking out the ship. Darkseid didn't even turn his head. Major Sato got that call, that she was now Commander Sato, and she watched as the refugees of Earth came down into Adam's Haven. Over in Chicago, Grayson looked on at the destruction, and then he decided it was time to find his son, Johnny. He walked with Ted Grant for 3 hours until they reached the train station, and that's when they got the news. The train had derailed. Back in the fire pits, they continue fighting the Red Avatars until Val-Zod sees the real Red Avatar bound up and being used as the raw code for these clones. And it's her heat that is making up the fire pits. She is the power source that they have been seeking. While this is happening, Clark gets injured by the clones and he falls to the ground. He then tells Batman that they were using his blood in the pipes, running it along this place to pump it into the creations that they made. He then asks Thomas Wayne to give him a distraction, because the blood in his body right now, it's a poison to all of these clones. So Thomas breaks the pipe, taking some of the Kryptonian blood altered by Apocalypse, and he injects himself with it. Instantly, he feels the power, and he charges in, literally throwing the Red Avatar clones aside. Meanwhile, back on the surface, the Avatars are failing and dying, so the Parliament decides that they need to give them a boost of power. They need to make them powerful, and they stand up ready for round whatever we're on. Over in Adam Haven, Flash has an idea, so he brings Hawkgirl with him to where they defeated the original Fury of Famine. No one saw her body leave, so maybe she's there, and she can give them answers on how to stop the rest of the Furies. His plan works, and they find her body laid out on the rubble. Meanwhile, back in Apocalypse, the survivors of Mr. Miracle, Fury, Sandman, and Mr. Terrific are becoming overwhelmed by Apocalypse's armies, so Mr. Terrific has an idea to use the discs of power that Miracle flies on to protect them. Sandman sets off a massive bomb, and using the power of the discs, they all stand in the center, seemingly dying, but they are perfectly protected. Barda reports to Darkseid that they are dead, and he tells her to get back to Earth and awaken the Horde. Meanwhile, at the World Army's headquarters,
I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. Darkseid always got some bullshit on bullshit. What the fuck is the Horde, bro? What more do you need? What more do you need, my boy? What more do you need?
The mother box that is inside of Jimmy Olsen decides that it's time to go back to its proper owner, and it pulls itself out of Jimmy. But as it leaves, it informs Jimmy that he is now the source, not a god, not a man. But from now on, Jimmy Olsen serves the very fabric of reality. Then the mother box rockets to Apocalypse. It shows up as the shields that Mr. Miracle made begin to vanish, and then they use that mother box to return to Earth finally. Back with Flash and Hawkgirl, they see the creature that was the Fury of Famine, and now she is in her right mind again. So she tells them that each member of the Furies is the last of their races, meaning that they all have weaknesses. With this information in hand, he runs across the world to the Green Lantern to let him know. War is a Tamarin, and she gets her power from ultraviolet lights. Green Lantern tells Sam to cover her, thicken her atmosphere. Pestilence is a Caesarian, and able to heal from almost any injury. So Green Lantern tells the Avatar of Blue to fill her lungs with water. And Death is a Martian, meaning use fire. So Grundy brings two rocks together, creating a spark. It's working, and all three of the Furies are dropping, calling out for their sisters, but they forgot about Huntress as she flings the Avatar of the Blue into the fire, putting it out. Pestilence then shoots disease into Sam's eyes, stopping him, and at that moment the Parliament loses its power to aid them. They need the Avatar of the Red. They need to complete the Parliament. Over in Chicago, Grayson is digging through the wreckage of the train, calling out for Johnny. He lost his wife Barbara, and he won't lose his son as well. After he beats up a few of the thugs, he realizes that there's no body there. there, so there is hope for his son. Down in the fire pits, Clark is so weak that the Red Avatar clones are actually ignoring him, so he crawls over to a device that will extract his blood and pump it into the clones, poisoning them with his currently corrupt DNA. He sees this as one last moment to save everyone, one last chance to be a hero. It drives his needles into him, poisoning all of the clones. And using this chance, Batman frees the real Avatar of Red, Yolanda. Everyone looks on as Lois cries again, as this time, Clark Kent has actually died for real.
Dang, like having 3 Kryptonians will be way too
While stopping the
overpowered.
fire pits, Lois Lane, Power Girl, Val Zod, and Batman lost Clark Kent while freeing the Red Avatar. Helena was also captured and changed into the Fury of Famine. The Red Avatar, now free, changes from a fire-breathing monster into a young girl named Yolanda. Then, she breathes fire on the ceiling and begins to burrow her way out of the fire pits. Lois can tell that she has started a chain reaction, and while they've lost 2 of their friends to this mission, it's time to get out of here as they've won. So everyone begins to follow the Red Avatar out of the fire pits, and then up at the surface, the Avatars are losing their battle as they are outnumbered. Green Lantern, Grundy, the Avatar of White, and of Blue are all fighting against the Furies, and with the added power of the new Fury of Famine, they can't win. They need the Avatar of Red, and then the ground begins to crack, and it begins to break, and the power of Red pours through it as the Avatar of Red breaks through the ground, revealing herself. Batman, Val Zod, Lois, and Kara all walk back up to the surface, thankful to have survived. The cost was high, but Apocalypse can't make any more parademons. It's the biggest victory that they've won since this war started, and while they know that this isn't done, Val Zod and Kara take a moment to bury Clark Kent on the world that he loved. Lois flies over and she hands Kara the family crest that she took from the trophy case in the fire pits, telling her that this belongs to her now. Power Girl attaches it to her chest, representing the family. While this is going on, Mr. Terrific, Mr. Miracle, Fury, and Sandman all went to Apocalypse to invade it, and they ended up failing and boom-tubing back to Earth. Everyone welcomes them back, and Mr. Miracle explains that it was a failure. They were betrayed by Barda and Sloan. But with everything that has happened, Jimmy Olsen has now become a part of the Source itself, and he tells them that he found something interesting. Terry Sloan has a ship cloaked in space that can hold 100,000 people, and it's time for them to commandeer it and save who they can. Back with Batman, Lois, Kara, and Val Zod, the Flash radios in a report telling them about the Furies and where they are. So they all load up and they head out. The battle against the Avatars and the Furies still seems to be raging on, as even with the help of the Red Avatar, they are still at a standstill. And that's when our other wonders arrive. Lois grabs the Fury of Pestilence, and since she's a robot, the diseases won't affect her, while Val Zod grabs War to offset her solar-powered abilities. While this is happening, Batman is flying a jet into the Fury of Death, and Huntress flies over, tearing the wings off of his jet. Luckily, he leaps to safety and the Green Lantern catches him, and Power Girl follows up on his attack by slamming into the Huntress so hard that she brings her to the brink of death, tearing Apocalypse's hold off of her. With tears in her eyes, she realizes what she did, and Hell tries to get out the words, "Darkseid won't let you keep me." Kara begins to cry out, come back, Hell, please!" But this isn't a time for mourning, as the Fury of Death has just given birth to the child that she's been carrying this whole time. Batman runs over, being that he is actually Thomas Wayne, her grandfather, and a surgeon, he can't allow her to die. While his drugs were destroyed earlier by Val Zod, he has always carried a backup, the Venom drug, and he injects her with it. Her heart begins to race and pump with adrenaline as she snaps back to life and begins to throw up whatever Desaad injected her with. Kara grabs her, smiling. "You had one heck of a bender, girl." But the child of the Fury of Death rises into the air, shouting that it is the death spawn of Apocalypse, and it buries itself into the ground. Everyone wonders what just happened, but the Green Lantern knows. It's after the power of the Avatars, the Parliament of Earth. Back in Apocalypse, Barda wants to know what Desaad's plan is next. Luckily for them, he isn't even close to done, and he shows her his Proto-Furies. Elsewhere, the Flash and Hawkgirl are walking the original Fury of Famine to safety now that she isn't under mind control. But then she drops to the ground, dying, telling them that the Furies have been defeated, and their link to Apocalypse is gone. The Furies are all dead, while Flash and Hawkgirl debate what to do with her body. The Proto-Furies attack. They radio into Lois, telling her that the Proto-Furies are attacking the tramway to the last bastion of human civilization, and they need to get there fast. Using their speed, Power Girl, Val Zod, and Lois all head off to fight against the Proto-Furies, leaving Hell and Batman there. Hell and Thomas Wayne look over the destruction, and Hell thanks him for saving her life. Then, as they head over to the World Army outpost, Jimmy calls up Batman, telling him one thing. find Oliver Queen. Bruce Wayne has a contingency and he gave it to Oliver Queen, and Oliver Queen went missing. As Thomas takes off his mask, they both realize that they look like Bruce. Helena then tells Thomas that she remembers Oliver Queen. He was a playboy who liked to drink. But with everyone feeling like they might win this, Darkseid gets the report that the heroes have defiantly pushed back the armies of Apocalypse, and he decides it's time for World's End. Unleash the Terraformer! Everyone looks up to see something happening, something terrifying. Apocalypse's newest weapon of war is literally hitting the entire planet with everything. They have unleashed their super weapons. Hawkgirl and Flash watch them send down something into the fire pits, and then all of the fire pits begin to link up. The avatars all look on as they realize they aren't even close to saving the planet. Then, to make matters worse, they all drop in pain. The Death Spawn has made its way to the Parliament of Earth, and it is hurting them from the source of their powers. The Green Lantern screams into his ring, "Bring me to the Parliament now!" He is then warped down to see the Death Spawn with Earth in its grasp. He begins to blast the creature with everything, and then he jumps in, giving it a solid punch, but the Death Spawn catches him and throws him back into Earth. He then slams into the ground, trying to get to the core, and if he does, the Earth is done. Green Lantern tries to stop him, but he can't, and the Death Spawn creates a hole and jumps into it. Meanwhile, Mr. Terrific, Mr. Miracle, Fury, and Sandman all load up into a rocket aimed at Terry Sloan's last remaining ship so that they can secure it. Mr. Miracle tells everyone, "I know I've said this before, but this time, I really mean it. Let's go save the world." Over at the entrance to Adam's Haven, the last bastion of human civilization, Val-Zod, Power Girl, and Lois all see the satellites of Apocalypse appearing over their heads, the things that are burning the ground around them, and they take off to do what they can. That's when they quickly realize that these things are intended to tenderize the Earth so that Apocalypse can devour it. Meanwhile, over in New York, Batman and Huntress are getting dropped off at Terry Sloan's old office, because Huntress figures that if anyone had the data as to where Bruce hid the failsafe, it would be Terry Sloan. As they land, they see the things scorching the planet and they realize this is the end. They can't stop this. They walk inside and they hack into the computers, pulling up the information, and then they have their ride come to a flyby so that they can escape the building just as it's engulfed in the flames of Apocalypse. Over in Adam's Haven, Dick Grayson has finally arrived looking for his son. He hasn't seen Johnny since Chicago when he loaded him up on a train with the rest of the refugees, but that's when he sees a man that was there with John Constantine. After a slight battle because Ted Grant wants some answers, they explain that Brainwave has his son, and they'll bring him to see him. Back up in space on Terry Sloan's last remaining ship, the heroes walk into the command center, and they realize that the ship has been put on lockdown so that no one can access it. That's when Terry Sloan himself walks onto the command deck. "You guys seem to have forgotten me on Apocalypse." Everyone turns in shock and calls him a traitor, and then he explains that they need his help to escape, or he'll drop the dimensional camouflage, keeping Apocalypse from finding them. Over with the avatars, they decide they only have one option: to pump the powers of every avatar into a single avatar. Alan Scott, the Green Lantern, knows that this means he'll lose Sam forever. There really isn't another option. It's the planet Earth or his lover. So Alan says one final goodbye to Sam, and Grundy fades away, giving his power to Alan. And then Sam fades away, giving his power. And then Yolanda gives Alan her abilities, but since she is a human being, she softly lands on the surface of the planet. The Parliament all speak to Alan, telling him to prepare for the ultimate conflict.
One thing about Benny, right? While he the GOAT, he make everything so cinematic, bro. It's hard to react to it, bro, because like he made this shit a movie, bro. He makes it a movie, bro. That's why he was really touched by God, bro. He really had a gift from God, bro. I'm telling you, he did.
Val-Zod, Kara, and Lois Lane are now hovering over Earth looking at Apocalypse's terraforming satellites, and they realize that they may not be able to stop this. But that's not enough to keep them from fighting against it, and they get back into action. Meanwhile, Huntress and Thomas Wayne Batman have tracked down Oliver Queen at the request of the World Army. When Bruce Wayne died, he sent off a failsafe with Oliver Queen, and then Oliver went missing when the invasions began. Now Thomas and Helena have found him, and he is in shock to discover that Hel survived, and since he knew her, he decided to take a seat and explain what's going on. Bruce's last failsafe wasn't a way to stop the invasion, it was a way to start over. He created a codex that contained the DNA coding of every living being on the planet, a way to start the planet from scratch. Bruce Wayne was the ultimate doomsday prepper. Over at Adam's Haven, the last bastion of human civilization, Major Santo gets an odd report. All of their escape ships are launching into the air and leaving without her approval. She calls up the Wonders, Flash and Hawkgirl, and she tells them to get back, because if these ships leave, everyone everyone here will die because they can't get off the planet. Then one of her soldiers turns to her and states, "Do not take back the ships that I commandeered. I intend to use them for their purpose and evacuate the planet." Sato knows this isn't one of her soldiers and she asks who is controlling them. Brainwave. I am the savior of the Earth. Brainwave is actually beneath Adam's Haven and is currently mind-controlling hundreds of people. Dick Grayson and Ted Grant snuck into his area because they were looking for Grayson's son Johnny. But as they find the location that they are all in and they find Johnny, Brainwave begins to get into Ted Grant and Grayson's heads. Brainwave then stands over the masses, welcoming them to his flock as he will save them all. Meanwhile, up in space, the USS Endurance is floating there. This is a multiversal escape ship built by the villain Terry Sloan. Mr. Terrific, Mr. Miracle, Fury, and Sandman all blasted into space not knowing that Terry Sloan was actually up here, and they want to use the Endurance to save all of the citizens of Earth. It can hold 100,000 people, so maybe it's not everyone, but they can save a good chunk. Mr. Miracle tells Sloan to start the engines on the Endurance. They're going to leave once Major Sato gets the survivors up to the ship. So Sloan turns on the ship, and he aims it at the planet of Apocalypse. Mr. Terrific yells at him to stop this. This ship can save at least 100,000 survivors. They can't sacrifice it. And Sloan smirks. I already did something. This was all a part of my plan. And the USS Endurance blows up as it collides with Apocalypse. Meanwhile, the Green Lantern now has the power of every avatar, as all of the avatars have given him their power, allowing him to have ultimate power. He rises into the sky and he puts up the ultimate shield and he hopes they can keep the terraforming back. He tries to shield the entire planet, but he can feel it. The strain the Earth is going through is breaking it apart. It won't survive this. Down on the surface, Barda and Kalibek are tearing through the human race one by one, leading the charge of Darkseid's troops. When out of nowhere, a blast of power hits the ground in front of them. Barda looks up to see Jimmy Olsen, the same Jimmy Olsen that used to be a tech wizard, but is now merged with the power of the Mother Box. He removes Barda's war armor instantly, and then he is suddenly struck down by Kalibek. Kalibek headbutts Jimmy so hard that he spills his new blood, the blood of a new god, and that's when Kalibek realizes Jimmy has been changed, and Kalibek just defeated a god. Back in space, everyone watches as more portals begin to open, and out comes more Endurance ships. Sloan explains that while an Endurance escape ship was destroyed, it wasn't their escape ship. The one that was destroyed was empty, and the Terry Sloans of the multiverse built more Endurances as an escape plan for whatever planet Darkseid decided to attack. Over with Thomas Wayne, Helena, and Oliver Queen, they return to the World Army headquarters when they get the call from Major Sato that this Brainwave is trying to hijack their ships. As Brainwave continues with his monologue as to what his plans are, a batarang hits him in the head, and Batman jumps in telling him to shut up forever as he buries Brainwave's head into the ground. Grayson and Ted Grant both see the cavalry arriving, and Grayson grabs the batarang off the ground. This is cool. All of the people are now free of Brainwave's mind control, and they begin to run to the ship that is now parked in front of them. And Grayson begins to panic again. Where's Johnny? Where's his son? Over with the Green Lantern, he slams into the surface of the Earth hard. His shield has failed and he couldn't maintain his power. The planet is dying, and right next to him, in another explosion, is Kara, Val-Zod, and Lois Lane landing next to him. He turns to them. He can slow down Apocalypse, but he can't stop it. And Val tells him a lot can happen in a few minutes. Meanwhile, with Kalibek and Barda begins demanding that Kalibek finish off Jimmy Olsen, but Kalibek is done being treated like a child by Barda. She couldn't even beat this boy, and if Kalibek can beat a god, what is she without her armor? She is nothing. So he jumps in to take his fight to her. While they fight it out, Jimmy gets back up and he creates a boom tube to carry all of the survivors back to Adam's Haven. Barda, seeing her only chance for survival, makes a break for the boom tube, jumping through it just as it closes up, with Kalibek calling out to her, "Coward!" She quickly grabs a disguise and she slips in among the other survivors, where she eventually finds Kali, the Fury of War, who managed to survive and is also hiding amongst these survivors. Up in space, Val-Zod, Kara, and Lois distract all of Apocalypse's forces while the Green Lantern charges one final push, one final amount of power. He blows a hole into the terraformer, allowing sunlight to pour in and power up the Kryptonians. Val-Zod flies like a comet into Darkseid's planet, landing right in Darkseid's throne room. Earth still has some fight left in it, monster. Meanwhile, Grayson and Ted have found Johnny. With his journey to find his son complete, he walks over to the escape ships. The guards tell him no. They are only loading up women and children now. Grayson tries to argue, "You said that there was room for everyone," and they told him that they hoped that there would be, but this isn't anything that we could have planned for, and they're trying to evacuate an entire planet. Realizing that there is no hope in getting on with his son, he looks for two women to take his boy with them. They agree to watch over Johnny for him, and that's when we see that he just gave his son to Barda and Kali. Grayson kisses Johnny goodbye as they load up onto the ship, and then the escape ship ships begin to lift off, with Sato turning on the artillery to protect them. They have to escape the planet. Back on the Court of Apocalypse, Val, Zod, and Kara are beating on Darkseid, but this is Darkseid, and he throws Val aside while smacking Kara down. She informs Darkseid that if he's looking for the Superman of Earth, it is her, and she uppercuts him. While on the outside of the planets, the escape ships are in a battle for their lives as the forces of Apocalypse are trying to stop them. They are blowing up in the sky. They are destroying their landing gear. They aren't going to make it to the Endurance. Kara continues beating on Darkseid, but he hits her with his Omega Beams, and then he throws Val-Zod down to Earth. Luckily, as Val-Zod is falling, he wakes back up and sees one of the ships crashing, so he grabs it and makes sure that it lands safely before flying up into the battle. Darkseid is still all-powerful though, as he throws Kara down to the surface of Earth, and then as they land, he stomps on Val-Zod. But this was enough time for our heroes to gather where Darkseid has landed, and all of our remaining Wonders arrive to battle Darkseid. While they keep pushing him back, the Green Lantern is with everyone, trying to get more ships to warp in, and he's tapping into the multiverse as they unlock the doors to the multiverse. More and more doors open up, and more Endurance ships appear, each built by another version of Terry Sloan. He prepared for this in every universe, not knowing which universe Darkseid would attack. There is only one Darkseid. He can only attack one world. This means that all of these Endurances are empty, and they're ready to save the day. They can possibly save everyone on the planet. But another effect is happening. With the doors of the multiverse opening up all over the place, the Green Lantern can feel the power of green from every Earth. Overflowing with power, he joins the rest of the Wonders in the battle against Darkseid. But Darkseid is still too much as he throws the Green Lantern aside. So, Alan Scott tries a new plan. He heals all of his friends, bringing them all back into the fight. But this time they know that they can't stop Darkseid in a head-on fight. So the plan is to save as many survivors from the ships that crash landed after they were under attack in the escape. They need to get those survivors to the Endurance spaceships. Darkseid isn't too concerned with the Wonders though. He has won, and he continues to wreck the planet Earth with his troops now that he's down here. The Green Lantern still isn't gone though, and as the spirit of Sam, his lover, the Avatar of White, appears before him, he explains that it is time for Alan to give in. He has ultimate power, but he isn't using it because he's still clinging to his old self. He needs to give himself up to the power of Earth. He needs to lose himself in it. So Alan asks Sam, will he remember him if he does this? Sam tells him no, he won't remain. Alan doesn't want to, but he knows he has to. He can protect everyone, he can save everyone, and he gives himself up to the power of the Earth. Meanwhile,
first off, I'm glad that they made a Green Lantern like the ultimate powerhouse, bro, instead of a fucking Kryptonian. Bro, I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. Green Lantern has been slept on for too long, bro. They've been slept on for too long, and they OP. They're overpowered.
Down in Adam's Haven, Darkseid himself kicks in the doors and he arrives. It's time for everyone to die. When out of nowhere, the Green Lantern hits him with everything. Darkseid tries to blast him back, but the Green Lantern can hold a shield up to protect himself. The Green fights for every living being on this planet, and then, with the power of every planet he is using, he cracks Darkseid over the face. He then takes a seat in the ground, while everyone holds back the forces of Apocalypse. One last shot to save this planet. Using all of his power, he begins to lift up every survivor off the ground, and he protects them as he pulls them off the planet and he sends them into space to the spaceships. With Darkseid trying everything to stop them and the survivors of Earth gone, the Green Lantern, Grayson, Yolanda the Red Avatar, the Flash, Batman, and Val-Zod are left on the planet, and as Darkseid hits them with everything, he hits them with a very angry Omega Beam blast. He seemingly kills them all. He kills all of our Wonders that were on the planet. The Earth is lost, but they saved who they could, and as the Terraformer finally completes its formation around the planet, the USS Endurances all blast off into space to find a new planet, if there is one. Kara, Helena, Lois, and Oliver Queen all sadly remember how many of their friends they just lost in that battle, and we have reached the end of Earth 2 World's End.
I'm about to say, but it can't end like that.
Over in a version of Gotham where a great injustice has been done, Superman hovers over Batman. You ignored me! You ignored my final warnings! And now you want my help? You finally get your powers back and you come back here to make us beg? Batman asks him. And then Batman tells Superman to look around. Look at the city! All around them, Gotham is in ruins and it is burning. What is the point of being invincible if there is no one left in your city to lead? Help us defeat whatever this is, Superman! But as Batman is asking for help, a volcano opens up beneath our heroes, swallowing them up and leaving Superman alone. He takes off in the skies. I could have saved you, but the destruction of this city will be a reminder of those who have turned against me. Then, a giant hand made out of the earth itself reaches out and grabs Superman, crushing him. A voice over everything simply says, "A failed experiment. My master was wrong to bring them here. I must begin again." Elsewhere on this weird world, there's an electrical sound and a portal opening. Out of the sky falls Thomas Wayne Batman, questioning, "Where on, not Earth? Apocalypse?" Then Dick Grayson the writer falls out behind Thomas Wayne. Batman throws a grappling line out to catch Dick Grayson's hand, and they both land softly on the ground, and Grayson asks him, "What's going on? Did we die?" And Thomas tells him, "Not yet. You see, when Earth 2 was finally defeated, these were the heroes that were left on the planet's surface, and they supposedly were killed by Darkseid's Omega beams." The portal opens again, and Jay Garrick the Flash falls behind them. And then we see Alan Scott, the Green Lantern, and Val Zod, the last son of Krypton of Earth 2. Batman figures it out quickly. Just as Darkseid was killing them, they must have been teleported here instead. Only they knew where here was. Grayson punches Batman across the face, because on Earth 2, Grayson wasn't a superhero. He was a husband and a father, and he just lost his family. He points at the Earth 2 heroes, and he tells them, "You failed! You failed everyone that I loved!" So the Flash grabs him and tells him, "Shut it! You're not the only one who lost people. My mother is off in space right now trying to find a new home, and we'll never see her again." Then a hand pops out of the ground asking for help, and it's Yolanda Montez, the red avatar of Earth 2. Our heroes quickly put it together. Somehow they have survived, and they are now on this world. Maybe they can still save everyone. If you want to know the long journey that brought our heroes of Earth 2 here, the link is down below. Suddenly, the entire planet begins to attack them, with things coming out of the ground. Our heroes begin to battle against it, and as they fight, they realize what is happening. It's making a dome over them, and it's taking away their powers. Val Zod quickly freezes the potential dome, stopping it in its tracks, and someone shouts, "Intruder!" There in front of our heroes is the being behind all of this, and he asks them, "Why are you here without a city?" Green Lantern explains that their city was destroyed and they are the only ones left. And then the being tells them, "No city? Unacceptable! Could I have miscalculated? I meant to take you just before the destruction of your world, but perhaps I was off by a second. This is what my master instructed." And the Green Lantern asks him, "Where's your master?" "Away from here, leaving the decisions to me. And here you are with no city. An error. But why did you bring us here? To continue the work of my master, Brainiac. You have no power over us, creature," Val Zod tells him. But the creature shrugs it off. "On the contrary, without me you would be dead, and perhaps you arriving in this manner is a sign. Yes, it must be. The time has come to determine who will be replanted in the universe of worlds and who will perish." With those words, he swirls a metallic liquid around our heroes, trapping them, and he tells the heroes that he's going to pit all of the universes against each other, each world within the multiverse, in a battle to decide who deserves to live. Across this planet, the being known as Telos tells all, "Citizens of my world, I have brought this convergence upon you. Now is the time. The hour is near. Judgment is here. Only one city shall survive. Only the strong. Since your arrival, I have been the air that you breathe, the water that you drink. I am the very ground that you walk upon. I am your starless night. I am this world. I am Telos, and I have tended to your every need. Some of you came here at a time of infinite crisis. Others were brought in the final moments of their 0 hour, whether it was a flashpoint for a time that never was, or kingdoms that will never come. Everyone here was granted life as a part of my dominion. That changed."
I like the wordplay. I like the wordplay. A final crisis? Come on. Now, if you know, you know. A flashpoint, a kingdom come. Come on, man.
Now, you will all fight. If you refuse, I will destroy you. If you try to think of a way out of this, I will destroy you. It is convergence. Witness, it has begun. Then, the Earth 2 heroes are forced to watch as Telos turns heroes against themselves, cities against cities, friends versus family. All version of the multiverse forced to fight. The ones that refuse to fight, well, they are dealing with the cyborgs of a future's end. But while Telos is activating his plans, his hold upon our heroes weakens, and Val Zod can feel it. Using everything he has, he breaks out of the liquid metal, and he begins to slam Telos around. Our heroes all begin to break free, and the Green Lantern decides that while he may not be able to tap into the green of this world because it appears dead, there has to be something on this planet. While he's right, it's not what he's expecting, as it fills him with darkness, and he throws all of it at Telos, throwing him back. While our heroes may think that they've won, it's only started, as Telos is the planet itself, and he regrows from the very soil that they threw him to, stronger and larger than ever. Val Zod refuses to be caged up any longer. and he begins to beat on Telos until Telos retreats into the surface of the world. Yolanda asks if they've won, and the Green Lantern tells everyone that he can still feel Telos out there. This is far from done. He tells everyone that whatever this planet is, it's not alive. He felt it when he reached inside, and he can't do that very often. It took a lot out of him. But while inside of the planet, he felt the thing that Telos is afraid of. It's beneath the surface of this world and focused on a ruined city nearby. Batman tells everyone that he's gonna take Grayson to a nearby Gotham City, and then they can all meet up at the ruined city. Thomas Wayne and Grayson make their way into the city and into a Batcave, not unlike the one from Thomas's Earth. They walk inside, and Thomas goes looking for this world's Batman, while Grayson has a seat at the Bat computer. A version of Barbara Gordon comes up on the screen wanting to know who Grayson is, and he's shocked, because on his world, he married Barbara Gordon. Alfred steps up behind him and turns off the screen asking who Grayson is, and he explains the whole story. He was with Thomas Wayne, and they came here to get supplies for the battle. Upon hearing the name Thomas Wayne, Alfred knows that his meeting with this Earth's Batman will be a unique one. You see, on Earth 2, Batman died fighting Darkseid, and Thomas took up his mantle, but he never told his son that he was alive, and he never apologized for everything that he had done wrong. And the Bruce Wayne on this Earth, as with most Earths, had his father gunned down in an alley one night, creating Batman. Both Batmen are from different universes, and both need to say a few things to each other. The words are exchanged, and we'll probably never know what was said. It's forever to remain between a father and son. But Bruce gave them use of a Batmobile and a flight suit for Grayson so that he could gain a bit more protection. They then bid farewell to each other, with Thomas telling Bruce, "You grew up into one hell of a man. If your father was anything like I am, he'd be proud of you, Bruce." And Bruce told him, "Take care." And then he thought on the events that had just happened while Thomas and Grayson left. Meanwhile, the rest of the heroes end up coming across a man named Deimos, and he informs them that if they help him, he can get them off this planet, only to be attacked by the drones that Telos sent out. They go back and forth with them, but there are far too many of them, and they even try to contain Val-Zod because of the rationality that if they trap the Kryptonian, the drones will have won. Until suddenly, all of the drones explode as the Batmobile flies through them. Apparently, on that world, the Batmobile could fly. They destroy the rest of the drones, and Batman hops out, informing the team that they won't be getting any help. All of these cities are under attack or under siege. With everything destroyed, Deimos explains that even Telos is a slave to Brainiac on this world, and if everyone follows him, he'll bring them to the source of Brainiac's power. Then they'll be able to get off of the planet together. The group all agrees to go with him except for Batman. He tells Green Lantern that he has something to handle and he'll catch up again. And Grayson decides to stay with Batman as well, and everyone separates again. Green Lantern, Val-Zod, Flash, Yolanda, and Deimos all make their way down a tunnel and into the planet's core itself, where Deimos welcomes them to the hidden city of Skartaris. But back with Batman and Grayson, they walk off. But before they could go anywhere, a series of cars pull up and circle around them, and all of Batman's villains get out of the cars. Man-Bat grabs Grayson, pulling him out of the fight, and then they all jump in to begin fighting against Thomas Wayne. He puts up one hell of a fight, but at this point, he's run out of the strength-granting drug that allowed a 60-year-old man to fight against supervillains. And eventually, Victor Zsasz stabs him in the side. The villains each grab a hold of Batman, and they're prepared to beat this Batman to death. They don't care who he is. He's wearing the cowl. And Thomas tells them, "You'll never hurt another Wayne again." And he blows up a suicide vest on himself, taking them all out. Man-Bat is thrown aside and he drops Grayson, and Grayson pulls himself up over to the dead body of Thomas Wayne, where out of the blue he takes a shot to the gut, injuring his spine. He hits the ground and he looks up to see the Joker walking closer to him, and he tries to tell the Joker he can't feel his legs. Then two hands grab the Joker's head and break his neck. It's Telos, and he tells Grayson, "This vile creature is a plague in every timeline." Telos then winds up to hit Grayson and he asks him, "Where are your friends?" Grayson refuses to answer, so Telos walks over to Batman's cowl and he picks it up. "Your Batman died protecting you. Your bond is shared across all realities. His name was Thomas. Thomas, then, where are the rest of your friends? If you plan to kill them, then just kill me now. You misunderstand. I didn't bring you here to kill you. I did it to save you." He then uses his liquid metal to repair Grayson's back and allow him to walk again, before warping himself and Grayson away, telling him, "I am not your enemy. I am your god if you win this." Down on the city beneath the surface, Deimos leads the charge as everyone charges the castle to kill the warlord who is holding the power of Brainiac hostage. Telos takes Grayson to what could only be called his central command, and it is there that he explains what he is doing. It is to test the human spirit to allow the strongest to survive. Besides, he can't disobey his master. As the battle rages beneath the surface of the planet, Deimos slips away and goes deeper into the castle until he sees the thing that Telos fears, and then he drops the last guardian standing in front of it and taps into that power. The power of Time Masters! All of the individuals that were at the vanishing point, which is the end of time, are Time Masters, and Brainiac has had their power contained down here. At that moment, Telos teleports to the center of the world because he can feel something wrong, so he brings Dick Grayson with him, and they watch as Deimos uses the power of the Time Masters to summon Brainiac. Brainiac appears before him and demands to know, "What do you want? If you free me, you can have it." Deimos then turns back to Telos and all of the heroes. Telos demands that he free Brainiac, and Deimos tells him, "Your loyalty has been misplaced. I can see all of time now, and I know your true name." He then grants Telos his memories back to him, and he realizes that he is not the planet given life. No, instead, he is one of the first worlds that Brainiac bottled, and when he did so, he offered Telos his family safe haven if Telos would work for him. This made Grayson and everyone realize that Telos is just like them, the last survivor of his world. Deimos then attacks more of the people of the land, and that's the only cue that our heroes need to know that what he's doing is not a good thing, and they attack him. Val-Zod takes a hit to the chest, but then he gets his hands on Deimos, and the two powerhouses begin to battle it out until Deimos uses all of his power to blast Val-Zod. The Green Lantern then brings up the most insane plan ever. With Val-Zod and Flash down and Telos out of the picture, should they release Brainiac to fight Deimos? Brainiac says, yes! But Deimos isn't about to have it, and he banishes Brainiac away. The Warlord then arrives, one of Deimos' oldest adversaries, and he breaks down the walls and distracts Deimos, allowing our heroes to find a fast exit and make a break for it. But as they were leaving, they couldn't find Yolanda as the building crumbles around her, and then Deimos holds his hand out to save her. He takes her back to Brainiac's old throne room, where he reveals that she is actually the old superhero named Wildcat from the first crisis, the first convergence, and she will be of use to him. But before he can explain anything else, he walks over to the throne and he speaks to the world. I have stopped your capture, Telos. I am now your new master, and I will let you all live for a price. You have 1 hour to decide if you will side with me. Yolanda asks him what his plan is, and he tells her that all of these versions of Superman, Batman, the Flash, and Green Lantern, they are uncontrollable, and he's going to lead them to their deaths. And from that, a new universe will be born. But while he's revealing his plans, our Earth 2 heroes have yet another idea. They're gonna get all of the good guys to fight on a team against Deimos, and then they seek out all of the other heroes stuck on this world, other versions of Superman, the Flash, and Green Lantern, heroes known as Teen Titans or the Justice League. And once they get a few on their team, they seek out more, together as heroes. While they gather up these heroes, Grayson has his own idea. He calls out to Telos to offer him a chance to correct the mistakes that he's made, and with their army of superheroes made up, they charge at Deimos, demanding that he surrender. But not all of the superheroes on this world are heroes. There are evil versions as well, and they stand with Deimos. For his new world, everyone begins to battle it out. Superman versus Superman, Flash versus Flash, Batman versus Owlman, even a weird tentacle head guy versus the Blue Beetle. Everyone has equal strength, speed, and power, and everyone seems to be winning until Telos bursts out of the ground. Deimos and Telos go back and forth, and the heroes can see that Telos isn't defeating Deimos, but he is weakening him. And just as they need one final push to finish him, Yolanda calls out to him. Deimos, you may be high and mighty to everyone else, but I can smell your fear. This is the distraction that Telos needed, and he encases all of Deimos' followers and Deimos himself, until Deimos breaks out in an explosion of power. But that's when Hal Jordan Parallax has had enough. A version of Hal Jordan from a time where he took all of the Green Lantern's rings and killed them all and became a villain. He blasts Deimos with the power of every Green Lantern ring, killing him. Telos falls to his knees, because it isn't over. Deimos took the power of the Time Masters, and with his destruction, the very fabric of space and time is now falling apart. Time itself is breaking, and every universe in the multiverse is ending. While our heroes try to figure out how to fix time, 3 individuals appear. Brewster Gold, Wave Rider, and Gold Star. If this is the end, they're gonna be here for it. But Wave Rider has another plan, and he frees Brainiac. Brainiac begins to attack everyone, and then Superman stops him to ask him what is he gonna do after he wins. Telos asks Brainiac to help stabilize time itself, and Brainiac tells Telos, I know, my experiments have failed. I was not always this monster. I was once a man from a home, but when the flashpoint happened, I saw it, and I wanted to become something more. That's when I became lost in the multiverse, traveling to the edge of time and back. In my journey, my body was lost to these cancerous growths, and I want to go back to how I was. I need your help. Grayson shouts at him, help you? After all you've put us through? But Telos stops him. No, Dick. Maybe the end is what it takes to see our mistakes. So Brainiac severs Telos' tie with the planet, and he takes in all of that temporal energy, and he explains that he needs to reset the multiverse, put everyone back into their worlds. And sadly, he has to return Supergirl and the Flash to the original crisis, where they will die. But certain heroes stand up, stating that they will go with them to try and prevent their deaths. Even Parallax states that he wants a chance to be good again. Then, Brainiac returned everyone to their proper timelines, ending the convergence, this planet, and the multiversal crisis. And with a whoosh, everyone is gone, leaving our Earth 2 heroes on this planet alone, with no place to go. Except, the Green Lantern was finally able to feel this planet's green. Without Telos here, he was able to revive this world, and he creates the new plant life. He creates this world. He revives it. He creates a new world for Earth 2, and since they were the only people on the world, the whole planet has been moved to the proper Earth 2 universe, and the ships that left, the ones that survived Darkseid taking over planet Earth, they received a homing beacon, telling them to come home. The Green Lantern flies into space to get their friends, get their families, because Earth 2 has an actual second Earth, a second chance, and it's time for them to build a new home.
Thank you for watching today's episode of Comicstorian Full Story. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought about this and who your favorite superhero is. And don't forget, you can check out the Comicstorian main channel to get daily videos. You can join us over at Comicstorian Movies, aka Absolutely, the podcast channel, to get our opinions on everything going on in the world of superhero movies, comic books, and video games. Or you can join us over at Mangastorian, where we talk about manga. And don't forget to click the link down below to support us further. This hot sauce is a hot sauce that we have created. Hatch and jalapeno is a flavor that we created, which involves infusing whiskey into a hot sauce. No, it's not alcoholic, and yes, it is FDA approved. Anyway, once again, thank you so much for watching today's video. I'll see you next time, right here.
Oh, that was a hell of a journey, man. Thank you, Comicstorian. Thank you, man. Truly thank you, Comicstorian. God damn, you're gonna be missed, man. If you stayed for the whole stream, or you tuned in, or you watched for the whole YouTube video, and you'll enjoy what you've seen, subscribe if it's YouTube, follow if it's Twitch, social media. And long live Comicstorian, man. And we out of here. God damn, we miss you, man.